Very good, very good. What's just
How are
saying,
you, Donna?
Donna? Yes. I don't think Donna heard you. I was talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? I
I'm
didn't
just
hear
asking,
anything.
how are you?
Oh, good, good. Just getting going here.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Donna slept a little extra today, Beena.
Good. That's good.
Yes, yes. Most excellent.
And how are
Uh,
you, sir?
I'm good too. I'm good too. I slept well. Had a really good um, session with Benny. You know, we did module
Mhm.
one, session one,
Yes.
and he loved it. He is very appreciative. And he enjoys it, and he's very open. You know, and he's not saying, "Oh, I know this, I know that," you know, all the time. Which I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
just always it so limits the connection when people do that. It doesn't matter if you know it. You know, it's more. It's just adding on, and it connects. So
Mm-hmm. I was here at 6, but and I checked that,
it's six
but
now.
you no in your evening.
Oh
Yes,
yes,
my
I know.
morning.
I saw that. I came. I was at Lindsay. We finished the art
Mm-hmm.
project with her, so I was there, and then I only got here a bit
Uh-huh.
later. Yeah, I saw that.
But then after that, when you texted me, I took medicine for
Good,
this mild
good,
fever and all that, so I
good,
was dizzy.
good. So you got extra sleep also?
Oh yes, because not naturally because of medicine.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's all good. It's all good. That's
but
all.
after that, I was just playing Candy Crush
Oh, really? Wow. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. All right.
doing
So
nothing but just playing.
we did module five, session one, right?
Yes.
Were we
I
done
thought
with
we
it?
were in module 6.
Oh.
No, I
Oh,
wrote down module 6. I could have written wrong.
oh no, no, you're quite right, because we did the value of learning to quote ourselves. We did that already. So we're on module six, yes. Module six sessions. Okay, we haven't done that. I think we're halfway through module six, session one. I believe. Module six, session two. Yes, yes, we are. Oh, module six, session one, dealing with habits and routines. Oh, we finished it individually, right? This was the dealing with habits and routines. We did we with both of you we did the got to the evening part, right? The late the end of day one, right? The recap. Beena,
Yes.
we did that, right? The end of day recap
Mm-hmm.
of
I actually don't remember,
of
not
the
not
habits,
really.
doing the review, the little mini
Oh
movie
yes. Oh
before going
yes.
to
Oh
sleep.
yes.
Okay.
We
Donna?
Yes.
actually
Yes. Yes.
we finished up on the wake up, but we did the recap in another time. So
Yes, we did it another time. Right. Okay. I'm just saying, I remember doing it individually.
Yep.
That's how come it is a bit of confusion. All right. So we're looking for module six, session two. Module six, session two. Mood management and just being. All right. Let's do screen share and get right into it. Okay. 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 There we go. Let's take you back up there. Oh, go. Just minimizing all the windows. whatever reason. uh, Interesting. There we go. There we go. Strange things going on. Strange things, but we'll sort them in a second. Okay. There we are. There we are. Hey. All right. Mood management and just being. Module 6, session 2. All right. When we realize we can add to the world, change the world, contribute positively to the world, simply via being aware, we undergo a profound moment of empowerment. So we can make a difference just by being aware. Not that we feel like we need to make a difference or necessarily want to make a difference, but we do. And this is empowering because it's also a responsibility. So it's a double-edged sword. People all like to think that, oh, I can make a difference, but they forget that there's a responsibility involved, right?
Yes.
It's a big deal. But anyway, just our awareness makes a difference because it's got.
Uh, I'm on mute, but I'm listening.
That's okay because your voice
Okay.
is all cockeyed. Yes, baby is sick. All right, no worries. Mood management is difficult as it requires, first of all, an awareness of emotion when it occurs. That's very difficult, but can be done. First, though, we need some extra pressure and leverage to provide incentive to make such changes. Because, after all, we engage in our moods because they feel natural and justified. But of course, the crappy ones are only justified within their limited emotion bubbles. Problem is, when inside that immersion bubble, it feels right and justified. Yeah, immersion bubbles are a massive problem for the world in general. Feeling makes things real. When associated with a falsely justified rationale, the rationale of the immersion, we can come to behave in ways we don't actually like or care for, but do anyway. All because of that prior associated self-conditioning. So, so in the habit of typing the A's capital, even when it's not needed, they come. All because of prior self-conditioning, that association. An important aspect of mood management and awareness management is association management. It's a huge deal. It's so simple, but it's huge. It's really huge. We're going to apply a sophisticated technique when it comes to our mood management. Instead of looking at the instances of, say, irritation or annoyance and trying to deal with them as they happen, which is difficult, we're going to come from the outside ahead of time and put ourselves in a space and mindset and awareness to see the trouble beforehand, enabling us to not become immersed. We are talking strategy here now. Strategy. The most powerful tool we have to break habit is motivation, along with its more sophisticated upgrade, intent. In the matter of moods, especially crappy moods, we are going to examine just exactly how those moods are justified from our overview perspective of sobriety and impeccability. When we do a thorough examination of such moods, we absolutely cannot justify or legitimize them in the context of our stability and sobriety. And here we are also connecting this to our self-conception. If we conceive of ourselves as an impeccable spirit warrior, how do we justify crappiness like irritation and annoyance and anger and stuff like that? We can't. It just doesn't work, right?
Yep.
Okay. Fully connecting and immersing ourselves in our impeccability and our sobriety specifically from the perspective of mood justification, is extremely powerful. We now leverage our honesty, self honesty, and integrity. How? Just how? If we regard ourselves as good, and how? Just how? If we intend to live as impeccable spirit warriors, how can we justify and rationalize crappy moods? We cannot. It's as simple as that. And this is a huge point of self honesty. If we really and truly feel that we are intending to live as impeccable spirit warriors, we have to say, I'm sorry, I cannot justify irritation and annoyance just in general. Yes, maybe in very, very specific instances, okay, possibly for some strategic advantage, like you need to, like in a work situation where it's necessary to establish your authority when people are still in hierarchy mode or something like that. But then it is just controlled folly. We don't really feel it. Yes, we immerse in it and we do it fully and thoroughly. But nonetheless, it is a choice then. It's a deliberation. It's a strategic thing. It is not inadvertent and there is a justification for it. But it did just happen. And part of this is also making sure that we get into the habit of not feeling irritated and justified in private with ourselves, with when we stub our toe or whatever the thing is, or drop something or any to really not just by default react with irritation, annoyance, or botheration or whatever any type of mood. Placing all our attention and awareness, all our integrity and intent to goodness, on our intent to be impeccable and live as spirit warriors, shifts us profoundly to a constant awareness of these ways of being. In them, there's no place for crappy, unjustifiable moods. So, this is something that we are doing moment to moment as a spirit warrior. We are placing all of our attention and awareness, all our integrity and intent to goodness, on our intent to be impeccable and live as spirit warriors. This is a mindset we are doing constantly. We are constantly reinforcing this notion, this conception that, hey, we are living as spirit warriors. And therefore, we are spirit warriors. And therefore, we cannot justify crappy, unjustifiable moods. It's really huge. This is our leverage. If we engage in such unimpeccable moods, are we not frauds? And this is where we are leveraging our self honesty. This is how we place a massive and influential self leverage on ourselves. We might not always be at our potential best, simply because we don't always know how, or we are not in the habit and other factors. But one thing we absolutely cannot be is a fraud. This goes against all we are. So we leverage our innate, deep uh, inability to be a fraud. We just can't do that. We can't live as frauds. So this means that if I'm really real about being sensible and being good and being impeccable, that I now can't say, oh, I can't justify these crappy moods. So I can't be a fraud. It's very powerful, that self leverage. For breaking that habit. Yes, of course, sometimes we still do, but it gets less and less because every time then, wow, that doesn't work. We feel bad, etc. And so we use it. Thus, we leverage our intent to be impeccable, our stated shift to being impeccable and to regarding ourselves as spirit warriors. If we are real about this intent, real about this shift of being, we just absolutely cannot engage in crappy moods. It's an extremely powerful pressure on us. We'll use this pressure to leverage our awareness to be aware of our moods, to be aware of what's happening so we don't fall into immersion bubbles within which we lose our precious, precious hard won awareness. We don't want to be crappy. Even worse is being crappy without being able to do much about it. As spirit warriors, we understand the horror and calamity of losing our awareness. It's a disastrous affair and a circumstance we most absolutely have to do everything we can to prevent from happening. No, hey, come on. will thus use that pressure and desire to be good, to not be hurtful and mean and nasty, and all the other crap we engage in when we become lost inside emotion bubbles, to not only assist us in mood management, but also to leverage us to constant awareness and to not lose our awareness. A multi layered approach to dealing with ourselves and to putting ourselves in a space where we can deal with ourselves. Mood management is a huge topic with many layers, deeply connected to absolutely everything we are about as spirit warriors engaged in our way of impeccability. To illustrate this overview perspective, multi layeredness, and connectedness to more, a story. Oh, wow, I forgot I had a story in here. Oh, exciting. Okay. Just being is enough. A story fragment to elucidate. Biala was asked, you talk of the new nobility being focused on just being. But what do they do to just be? Mood management, Biala simply said. She looked over to her dear and glorious friend and said, there comes a time in the life of a new noble when they shift from living a personal life. What other kind of life is there? Biala explained. They take on the life as an agent of the universe, or a spirit warrior, or its lover. And then the exquisite dance begins. The dance of power, the dance of joy, the dance of freedom. For it's a dance of control, a dance of responsibility, a dance of awareness and attention. In this dance, we take up the task of managing the mood of the universe, of the world, and everything in it. It's a stupendous undertaking. It's an impossibility, and yet we try. We dance and dance like never before. We never relent in our dance of joy, in our dance of cheer, in our dance of positivity. It's our task to be good, to set the tone, to supply the mood. Our personal feelings become irrelevant. We have undertaken the most sublime challenge possible, the challenge of Biala broke off. The challenge of don't stop there. Biala had a faraway look, a look of grace, a look of connection. It's the challenge of a lifetime. It's the challenge to always be our best, to always be the most appropriate we can be in any and all contexts. And what is appropriate? What can we be sure of as always being appropriate? Goodness, of course. But doing what's good is difficult to know. However, feeling good, we know, contributes to the goodness of the world, the goodness of everything. If we are contributing to the feeling of goodness wherever we are adding to the goodness of the world. What a challenge. Bella breathed. She shivered, feeling the complexity of her thoughts. We affect the world around us with how we feel. Every feeling and mood we put out affects those around us. Their feelings and moods in turn affect others. Every single one of us can thus be the butterfly sneeze that causes the typhoon of positivity and goodness, simply by being good, by feeling good. This is the only doing that's needed, the only doing good we can do and be sure it's good. Anything else is a presumption. The new nobility takes this responsibility seriously. But the questioner faltered. Yes, there are many, many buts. It's no simple task to take on this responsibility of mood management. It involves being impeccable. Biella left off there as if explaining more was too much for her. She drifted into a memory immersion, allowing it to take hold. I remember a time, Biella said. It seems so long ago now, when Illuminia and I first encountered the concept of mood management, of being an agent of the universe or similar. Illuminia had been on a trip with someone, and let's just say mood management was a challenge. We chatted via the com. Biala went back into the immersion, seeing it from the outside. Biala had said, and be resolute, Angel, insisting ever so slightly. Scrupulous, Illuminae replied. Felt a bit sad about no longer having a personal, however excited about being an agent of the universe. Yala. It's there, the personal. It just has a different scope for expression, but it becomes much, much more special when the opportunities present. Illuminae. I guess a princess of the universe is an agent. Biala laughed. It makes it all worthwhile, as does being an agent of the universe. It's a most special charge, one requiring the full use of all our skills and all our integrity, and constant attention, of course. But above all, being an agent of the universe requires ethics. And yes, a princess is a special agent. Fiala added. It's always the moods of others which are paramount. An agent has to be a paragon. It's really fun being an agent, as always, always. An agent is engaged in the distribution of good. Illuminaire. I wanted to say in terms of mood management, watching the beginnings especially closely is critical. One has to nip in the bud at all costs any start of a mood which threatens internally. It's only then, in those early stages, where we really have any control. Yala. Absolutely. And in terms of our specific interaction, if one sets the mood of positivity, trust, togetherness, closeness, solidarity, communion, and of being a unit, any other options become impossible. That's the key of it all. To broadcast and radiate the moods and attitudes we want. That broadcast prevents any other options. Just trust and see. Extrapolate positively. Lumineer. Definitely. I feel good anticipating. Biela. You are good always. Never forget that. You are connecting to your power, the power of making the world good and better by you being good and happy through your mood management. Biela. I have been thinking much about this, the finer points of it. I see it as essential, also from the new nobility perspective, that mood management is never seen as something which is forced or foisted or in any other way put upon people. It comes about more from not being able to do the opposite. Since moods, attitudes, and perspectives, thus our very beings, are contagious, we have the ethical responsibility to not infect the world with negativity. It's about not being negative. Positivity is our only option. So we are not going around trying to sell positivity. It is just the way we are to be, because also it is not negativity. Understanding this prevents us from presuming what is good for others. All we can do when we take this all into account is be what is good. We know this will affect the world around us positively, and that's great. But it's never a forced perspective. Part of our positivity is freedom. And positivity laced with freedom of choice is certainly much easier to deal with than negativity in any form. The one adds energy with which to make choices, the other subtracts energy. It's a profound responsibility, and like everything, has to be applied with awareness. If not, we can easily spread types of positivity when that is not desirable, such as condoning or enabling. So it forces us to be continuously, deliberately aware, which is our goal in terms of freedom. Mood management is a fantastic mechanism, thus, for leveraging our awareness, for keeping it constantly in play, for leveraging us to be constantly paying attention. We know how easy it is to become immersed in anything, and mood management leverages our goodness. It gives purpose to every single second of being. To live knowing we are continuously doing good and adding to the goodness of the world simply by being our goodness is awesome indeed. It's truly a way to live. Mood is energy dependent. I don't necessarily see it as an ethical obligation to be happy, but since moods, attitudes, and perceptions are infections, it's our ethical duty to be not negative. And there's more. There's a mood which is not happy, but neither is it miserable or unhappy. It's the mood of positivity, resolute positivity. It's a mood of sobriety. Sobriety is at root always positive, and it's a low energy requirement mood. Therefore, an excellent option when all else is not lining up. It's simply a commitment to positivity with all the realism attached. It's not optimism necessarily, but simply an insistence on the trust that things will work out, despite not seeing how. It's thus a choice of sensibility, a choice we make when we either don't want to or don't have the energy to consider options. It's a retreat option as well as a go to option. This resolute positivity can be combined with happiness, joy, and enthusiasm or not. It's a most excellent mood I have found. Biala suddenly asked, "Are you feeling the power?" "What do you mean?" "How about you guys? Are you feeling the power?" Donna? Beena?
Oh, sorry. I
No.
had you on mute. Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Are you feeling the power, Beena?
I think she left.
Oh dear. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll do it with her again another time if she doesn't come back soon. What do you mean? When we take upon ourselves the task and responsibility of mood management, we empower ourselves. We are suddenly in charge of our lives and how we feel. Not only that, but we are also in charge of adding to the goodness of the world. When we engage in mood management, we have decided that the infection of negativity stops with us. We have taken on the task of refusing to pass on the infection of negativity. We will no longer be part of the negativity infection cycle. We will no longer contribute to adding to the infection of negativity. This is empowering. Knowing our every action, our every effort of mood management is contributing to the good of the world. We don't have to go around spreading cheer or always being happy. All we have to do is refuse to be negative. This is a powerful self knowledge and empowering. It's a joy to know we are doing good every second of our engagement in mood management. Are you feeling the power? Biela asked again. Your power, the power of being in charge of yourself, the power of determining mood, the power of maintaining it, the power of making things right, of making things good, the power of not letting things slip into negativity, the power of being impeccable with your moods, with your energy, and with your positivity. Do you feel how you are making a difference? Do you feel the ethics of it, the goodness of being good, and through that, doing good all the time? Biela sighed a deep sigh of the most profound love. Love for the world, love for her friends, love for everyone, love for everything, and said, "A deliberate choice to be unrelentingly positive is the ultimate charity." She smiled, that radiant, glorious, confused smile of hers. Illuminia returned the smile, adding illumination to the grace. And for the friends, all was right in the world. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. I forgot it was in here. Forgot the story was in here. All right, so back to the module. It's imperative to let our goodness find its own way out into the world. The minute we push it out, we add an intent which says, in essence, "I believe this is good for you or others." That's a presumption, no matter how tiny it is. Only the universe has access to the information to push that out. And look how the universe does it. Always in a way where we still have to put it together for ourselves. To presume to be able to push in that kind of way is just preposterous. And it is not our way. Yala Noble from Addendums and Afterthoughts. In session 2, there's much to the session. Pull from it what stands out, what connected and resonated. There's more to all this, which we'll get into in a takeaway session. Before we go to the next one, Donna, anything, any takeaways, any feel?
The biggest takeaway for me was a definition of when people say just be and what that actually means and does. And a lot of times I wanted to make it be a lot more difficult than it was. And it's just comforting listening to the module, to know that by just being, even if it's just neutral and not adding to the negativity, it's a good thing. And so that makes it palatable, makes it simple, makes it easy. And then just to understand that, in looking at being a spirit warrior, perhaps the term can seem overwhelming, or perhaps the task at hand can seem bigger than you are. But if you boil it all down to as simple as just be neutral, if nothing else, you don't even have to strive for being happy every second of every day, or because that for me so far has not been obtainable. And so when I think of that, there was a bit of conflict with being fakey. Well, I'm not going to be negative, so I'm going to walk around with a smile on my face every second of every day. Well, that's not what it's saying. And so that was really good to hear, kind of put it in a perspective and bring in sobriety and what positivity really means is the freedom of choice, and how to take all of that and make it your own, which is empowers yourself, and just to recognize that you're the one that's choosing the mood, nobody else but you. So even if it's neutral, that's making a difference. And that all of that equates back to just being here. It matters.
So simple, right?
Right.
So simple. Wow. Donna, do you realize what you just did?
What?
You just gave a fantastic little speech.
Mm.
No pauses, no stumbles, no interruptions, no no no, I don't know how to say this, no nothing. It was articulate. You elucidated beautifully. It was fluid. It was just magical. You said everything. You summed up everything really cogently and precisely and exactly. And you highlighted the critical aspects. It was a most marvelous takeaway and a little magical speech on just being and what it means. That was fantastic. I just want to emphasize this in terms of your ability to express yourself. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It is an ability. You do have it. You do possess it to express yourself fluidly and succinctly and beautifully and articulately. It's just fantastic. It was really, really just a joy to listen to. It's just beautiful.
What I didn't have was the vocabulary of my life experience, and way of applicability has definitely given me the vocabulary. And then once I had the vocabulary, it just took a while for it to integrate into being me. Yep. Once it becomes you, you can it flows right.
Exactly.
It flows right through. You're not having to take the time to process it and try to come up with the right word to equate to the right feeling.
Yes.
It's just a process.
Yeah. Because it is simply a process of connecting you to you.
Right.
When we speak about what we know, it's always easy. But the problem is, like you said, we don't always have the vocabulary to express what we know. You always knew all of that stuff in some way or another, but you just didn't have the connections and the vocabulary to do so. But it's really fun.
And for me, that's why a lot of times, I mean, you brought up the point that he didn't say in the beginning, Ben didn't say, what's his name? I'm sorry. Benji? Benny, sorry. Benji. Benji's a dog.
Yeah, Benny, yes.
When you brought up somebody not saying they knew.
Yeah.
All I can speak of is, for me, I didn't mean to come across, and it doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying, I didn't mean to come across as being arrogant or that I knew. It just was it was so satisfying and so pleasing. And I was so excited that I could recognize that the concepts and what was going on, I knew, but how to express it with the appropriate words wasn't there. So when you would say something, I'd be like, it just felt so good that somebody else got it with me, because it had been so many years when nobody did.
Yes, and I wasn't talking about you in that.
Oh, I know, but I'm just sharing, like, different people may have different reasons. And when you said that, I did I did say that a lot, especially in the beginning, like, yes, I know that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
now I have
I
words and
remember.
now it makes sense. And
No, I loved it. You were expressing your joy of resonance, your
right,
joy of confirmation, of saying,
right.
I'm not alone in feeling this. And wow, man, this is what I've been thinking, but now I'm hearing it back and I'm hearing it in ways that enable me to express it better. It's like I was thinking and feeling this, but I didn't have the words for it. I didn't have the way to get it out. So I loved what you were saying, and I appreciate it in the context.
Yeah. And then it went to the next phase of not only just being resonating with the words, then having a tool to actually talk through it with other people and see it from their different perspectives, and then try it all on. Let's try on this perspective this
Yes,
person has. Let's
yes,
try on this one. Oh,
yes,
that for me, that doesn't
yes.
feel very good. Let's try on this
Yes,
one.
yes, yes. And that's
That
huge.
was a huge shift for me, coming
Yeah,
from a background of black and white and do
yeah.
it my way or the highway. And,
Yes,
if you don't
yes,
follow family
yes,
dynamics, you're an alien. That was huge. And
yes,
it was so freeing when that finally
yes.
shifted.
And that's the thing too with this just being. It's part of it is managing perspective shifting or enjoying perspective shifting. What your summation said, that hey, it shifted your perspective to say, I don't have to go around being in a particular way to just be. Oh no, there's flexibility and freedom. It depends. I've got a whole range of options. The one thing that I cannot be is negative.
Right.
It's very
It's very
simple. Very,
fluid.
it's very simple. Yeah. It's very fluid, exactly. And also it is integrated and connected to our energy. Sometimes when we're just in a low energy day, we can just have that neutrality, that nothingness. I'm not feeling wildly excited or cheered and happy in it. No, I'm just being soberly positive. That's all. It's very minimal. It's that feeling of almost neutrality. But that neutrality is not negative. And anything that's not negative is positive when it comes to the contagion of the world. Even just being neutral makes a difference. And it's
I,
not, yeah.
no, please go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying, and that's all. It's just so critical to be aware that there's many, many ways to be not negative. You know?
In conjunction with that awareness, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering if there was a way to get that one message out, that and that was for me probably if not one of the biggest, it was right up there, in that I had no idea, literally no idea, of the impact of my energy that went out into the universe.
Yeah,
I was so caught up in the immersion bubbles
yeah,
of that particular situation. And I was so caught up in justifying my righteousness in feeling that hatred or negative or
yeah, yeah,
whatever the emotion was that wasn't
yeah,
positive,
yeah,
right? So you're so
yeah,
immersed in that. But I had no idea what that was doing to the universe. And
yes,
once I understood that I was energy, and once I understood that my words, even like the breath of them going out, carried a frequency out into the universe, and what that exactly did, if people, I just feel confident that if people got that one concept, if that was a
yes,
universe concept, the
yes,
world would shift
yes, yes, Donna,
dramatically.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is so amazing how just the one momentary. I mean, it takes just the quickest of moments to be aware of just that. Oh my goodness, and it changes everything. And it is such a simple shift from when you before that moment of awareness to after. It almost seems like a nothing. It's like, well, duh. But yet the implications are absolutely profound, and they change every single aspect of our life. And that's
Yeah.
what you just articulated so beautifully. This awareness that what we do moment to moment, how we are, makes an inordinate difference in the world. We don't have to go around doing great works of charity or write books or speeches or music or have talent or art. No, we don't need any of that to make a profound difference in the world. We are
No, and
all
I
in
remember
butterfly
for me,
syndrome.
right. And I like that. I wrote that down. But like for me, I kept searching. I was seeking what is
Yeah,
my
yeah,
role in this
yeah,
world?
yeah.
Should I be, building the city or running a restaurant or
Yes,
doing more charity work or,
exactly.
and if you spend your life seeking, you're
Yeah.
not living. So
Exactly.
so it's like if you go back to the foundation of all you have to do is just be in that
Yeah.
moment, then it like eliminates
Yes,
so many other things.
yes.
That was big for me. That
Oh,
was
it's
really,
huge.
really
It's
big.
huge. It's huge. And the magic of this just being, this particular session, it is to point out that, hey, just being takes many forms. There's not
Right,
one way to just be. And
right,
that is also to unhook from this default assumption that just being is, okay, some spiritual thing and you're sitting there, oh, no.
right,
You can go around.
exactly.
For instance, I was just thinking of unusual ways to just be. We can rogue around being stubborn. That can be our mood of just being, but stubborn in a particular way. I'm stubbornly refusing to be negative.
Right,
I'm just saying,
right.
stubbornness works for some people. It's their mindset. Or we can be fierce. There's many ways. Or like you said, we can be completely neutral and absolutely low energy. We are not engaging in everything. We're almost kind of mindless. But hey, we are mindless with a specific intent to not be positive. And I mean not be negative.
Negative, right.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. So there's all sorts of ways to be. And this is the key. There's a thread to all of them. All of them involve not being negative. What degree of positivity or mood we have, if we want to go around feeling rapturous, that's up to you. If you want to go around feeling stubborn, that's up to you. It makes no difference. Whatever mood you want, as long as it's not negative, not spreading negativity. So, I
I,
would
I will
imagine that,
say,
yeah,
I will say that once the resonance came and then the vocabulary came and then the application came and then it just is you can then be in a position to share it with other people as appropriate,
yeah,
and then they take from it what they will.
yes,
But I don't
yes,
feel even the necessity anymore
yes,
to
yes,
have to even do that piece. Where
yes,
before I
yes,
kept feeling like, oh, I must share everything. I
yes,
must share this pearl of wisdom with this person, and oh,
yes,
they're really gonna enjoy
yes.
this. I still share a lot with my children. I still do that
But you
only
don't
because
feel
they
that you have to.
asked. No, I don't feel
That's
like
huge.
that's the
That
shift. I
is
don't feel like
huge.
I have to.
That
Exactly.
is huge, Donna. That
Yeah.
is one of the most profound shifts we can make. That's really a milestone. Please write that down. Make a note of it. I no longer feel I have to, emphasize have to. I have to share goodness. It's a choice. It's always been a choice. It's an act of freedom. When we feel have to, then we don't have independence of being. So it's a freedom. It's a choice. And also, when we truly share in the full understanding of sharing, we don't share a conclusion. We don't share a result. We
True.
share options, choices.
Right. Right.
Right? And this is empowering for anyone. I'm not giving you the conclusion, I'm giving you options. You can do with that what you want. Throw them away if you want. That's fine. And that's exactly what the universe does also. It just shares options. And that's huge because those options, especially when they're added with energy, we are now sharing energy or the energy of positivity plus options. Wow, now I've got energy to choose some options. Even if I don't share the options themselves, if I just share the idea of having choice and options with energy, you now empower people. Oh, I've got choices. I don't have to live by default. That alone now is an incredible goodness. So we are sharing tools, not solutions, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna add I like that, the word options to my
Yes,
dictionary
yes,
of power.
yes, yes.
That's a biggie.
It's a biggie. It's a biggie. Yes, it is. It is a huge deal because it's also ethical. Because if I go around and I give you a bunch of solutions, even if I present you with, let's say, the situation, I present you with solutions that might work, it's still, I'm still limiting your choices. But if I share with you mechanisms for making choices, this is a whole different deal. You can then figure out the solutions for yourself. You have the ability to get that. So I'm sharing you a tool for acquiring solutions, not sharing a range of solutions, because that's still options and choices, right? No,
Yeah.
we are going to a deeper level. We are sharing enablement. We are sharing tools like awareness, like attention, like being strategic, like being patient. These are all tools that enable us to find specific solutions. It's huge. It is
Well, that means
unbelievably
what I
huge.
wrote down is options equals sharing, which equals sharing with no agendas. And that's huge.
Yes.
That's huge for
Yes,
me.
sharing without agenda. That's in your dictionary of power. Nicely hyphenated too. Sharing without agenda.
It
Oh,
is.
I like that. That is
Yeah.
really huge. That's a big deal. It is a massive, massive deal. Oh, shame. I hope Beena's feeling okay. You know, she's really been bothered by this being ill. Oh, dang it. You know, she was a little while back and now again, you know. So,
Mm.
interesting. And I hope she's feeling all right. You know, I hope it's some other reason that she's not here, or connection or whatever. So, but either way, that's so massive, Donna. You know, this sharing freely, free sharing, and you know we do so. It frees us to share because now I can share without any qualms, without any reservations, without any doubts, without any worries or concerns that my sharing may be inappropriate application of goodness.
Right.
This is huge.
It
This
is
is
huge.
huge. You know,
Yeah.
but
In the religious realm of things, that is the opposite of what you're doing. And I was in that
yes,
realm for so
yes,
many
yes,
years. And
yes,
it was so deeply ingrained that you
yes,
shared, but you shared with an agenda that somebody else better buy into what you're saying,
yes.
and at the end do what you
You were
what you're
pushing
saying to
and
do.
selling. Yeah,
Yeah. So.
right. You were pushing and selling. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and
yeah,
you definitely, without saying it, there
yeah.
was an underlying current of you better buy into this, and then at the end do
Right,
what we want you to do. Draw
right,
the same conclusion that I
right.
have.
And
Yeah.
you are forcing a choice, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And how is
Oh,
that in
sure.
any way right in terms of the universe? You are actually programming people, which you know it takes away their awareness and their freedom of choosing and coming to awareness by themselves. You are making robots. You are being so unbelievably not good when you do that. It's just a dreadful thing. It is just such a gross, inappropriate
Right.
application
And
of
that's
goodness.
one
It's
of the
sad.
things that I don't know if you could pick up on, but I was very cautious. That was the
Yeah,
reason in the
yeah,
beginning with
yeah. I
this.
did.
I
Yeah.
didn't want another
Yes.
set of programming.
Yes.
I was so desiring somebody to
Yes.
get that it was
Yes.
freedom that I was
Yes.
desiring,
Yes. Yes.
which
Oh,
is
I did
totally
get that, and I
opposite.
picked up very strongly on that. And this has been, Donna, why making it your own is such a big emphasis in the way of
Right.
impeccability. Because it's belief not required. Don't believe me. No, make it your own. Come to your own conclusions. Figure out your own sensibility. Yes, we'll discuss it and we'll go pros and cons and we'll have fantastic deep discussions. But in the end, you decide. You are going to make your own sensibility. It doesn't come from me or anywhere else. You and only you. And this is why we emphasize so deeply this point of making it your own.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
what kept me coming back. Once I heard that, I'm like, okay, let's see if it actually holds to that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say it, but I'm gonna keep an open mind and see if we actually do that. And that's, as you saw, the
Right.
second I felt as though we were judging or
Ah,
going,
yeah.
when we were talking about the bullshit manipulators,
Yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
going down that path
Yeah.
of
Right.
that was why my response
Yeah. Yeah.
was so
And
strong.
and it was appropriate. It was a very good response, and I do like it. I'm not a very great fan of that book. You know, yes, it is important book, it is a helpful book for people in that immersion bubble. It breaks them out of the bubble, but it's an inside the bubble book, so it's limited in that sense. Now, when you are inside the bubble, we do kind of need limited bubble tools sometimes. We need to do what's actually in a greater perspective, actually inappropriate, but it's appropriate inside the bubble because things are different inside the bubble. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So that's actually one of my projects now that I'm a bit more settled over here. I just want to, I'm working on getting the place a bit fixed up so I can do experiences here, the workshops, so to have a bit of income. And while I wait for stuff, I want to actually publish the Biella series, at least book one.
Oh, nice.
It's
That's
ready to
exciting.
go. It just takes time.
I met with a woman. There's been a lot of anomalies. No, not really anomalies. They're not really anomalies. They're just themes, I guess you would say, just positive themes, really. Not anomalies. It appeared in the beginning that they were concepts or thought processes I was stuck in. When I stepped back and looked at, the connection, where now it's more like a theme of where things are going, is how it feels. So, in saying that, I was at the gathering place last night and I ran into a woman who just happened to be sitting in the waiting room, and she was talking about purchasing a home, and she purchases property and makes it an Airbnb.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
having people, and that's been on my mind a lot about like looking at future and where I'm going to be and where I'm going to live
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all that good stuff. Um, and the option, like you were saying, of having a place where you could live and take care of something, and
yeah.
like the Airbnb would be perfect for that.
Oh,
If you
absolutely.
don't have the capital, but somebody else does to buy the property and then
Yes,
you run it. So
yes,
that was kind of
yes,
interesting. And then she
yes.
said that she was thinking about buying a home for her mom, who's older, but doesn't really want to go into a nursing home situation. And like
There's,
having
yeah.
it be like, what are those four ladies that lived in Florida, that show? You may not
Oh,
know.
Golden Girls.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
build more of like those types of
yes,
situations where they can
yes,
stay home and they take
yeah,
care of your property. So it was kind of interesting because
yeah.
I had been
Options.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, I had been thinking a lot about
Excellent,
that recently.
excellent,
So,
excellent, Donna. Hello, Sherry. Hello,
Hi,
hello.
good morning.
Hello,
well,
Donna. Before we can connect to Sherry, I just wanted to say that Airbnb and managing it and taking care of it, and like okay, you do the cleaning as well, and you do the bookings and online, and you make sure everything's good, and when the guests are there, they're happy. And if you really want to go even further, in some places like my friend Richard, he has somebody that lives in his property on in Brazil, and they don't do the bookings and respond to the guests, but they do the cleaning, and they also do, sometimes they'll cook for the people, if they want a chef, and it's all and it's free living and extra income, and it's an option, and Olivia's doing this actually right now, with a friend of hers. Just
well, to be
imagine.
honest, with the things I enjoy in life,
Yeah,
I think that was great. I
yeah,
love hosting and
exactly,
cooking and have people to my home and making them
exactly.
feel welcome and
Yep,
having deep conversations. It'd
yep.
be an excellent match for me.
Yes,
And then
yes,
plus, I'm very business oriented and marketing and can do
yes,
all the organizing.
yes,
So I have
exactly.
both of
You
those
have the
that I
whole range. You're
enjoy.
the full package. So
I
pay
am,
attention to
darn
this
it.
from an intent point of view, and maybe even look at people who have potential properties where they have a unit that you can live in, a smaller standalone unit, and then the main house, or where there's maybe one or two or three units that justify somebody like you. Like my friend, he just has the one personal, and it's a one or two bedroom house, the smaller one, and that his caretaker lives in, and they manage on site. They do all of the cleaning, and then they do this extra, the cooking and babysitting they do as well, and sometimes they're a tour guide. It's just fantastic. So it's a very powerful intent, Donna, and like I said, it is so appropriate for you. It is very much.
Yeah, I think so too. I need to scoot, so
Okay,
this is a good point to break
okay,
off. And
okay.
are we gonna try and do
Oh,
later
oh
with
yes,
Beena
oh
or
yes, oh yes, oh
okay?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see you later, Donna. We'll see
Okay,
you
sounds
later.
good. All
Brilliant,
right.
brilliant. Hello, Sherry. Hello,
Hi.
Sherry.
Hi,
And
good
see,
morning.
now I have you all to
Bye,
myself now.
Sherry.
Hi. Oh,
Hi.
everyone's leaving now?
Yeah, yeah.
What,
It's
what,
just the way Beena dropped off, and it's Donna, not dinner, but Donna has to go, and she'll be back in an hour or so, hour and a half.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
so
She
there
just
is
has a
no,
class that she has to attend.
yeah. So there's no appointed time. It just
No,
sort of happens.
no,
No, it just sort of,
exactly. You come
oh,
and yes, and if you jump in the middle of things, we enjoy that and we leverage it because okay, in this case,
oh,
Donna was talking about something more personal. But if it's
uh-huh,
something that's more overview and part of the learning and growing,
uh-huh.
when somebody joins in the middle of it, then we just hit the pause and we do a recap, and the recaps
Uh-huh.
are really powerful. So we leverage somebody joining
Yeah.
in the middle of things and make it into a
Oh, so
positive.
it doesn't really matter. And what time
No,
do you,
it's a
yeah,
boon.
oh,
It's
okay.
a boon.
And
It's a
you
boon.
meet usually in the evening as well, around what, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yes, late afternoon, somewhere around that time, 5, 6 o'clock.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
that's good to
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Wow. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Keeps
Great.
me busy.
All right.
Keeps me busy.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to come back today.
Brilliant, brilliant.
I'm feeling like I'm ready to get busy.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had
Excellent. So
enough of a
that's good
break.
timing also.
Yeah. Is
I
it?
have to be here in Jerome in my place all day, or at least potentially all day, for the gas company. I don't know when they're coming.
Oh,
They didn't give a
uh-huh.
specific time window. They just said today. So
Oh,
hopefully they come
no.
in the morning, and then I can be free in the afternoon. And
Yeah.
then, but if not, we can get together tomorrow, or you can come here, and we can
Yeah, I
work on
could
some
come up
stuff.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, since you know where it
That's
is.
right. I know where
Yeah,
you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I do have internet here now, so yeah,
Oh,
it's the
wow.
neighbor's internet, but still,
Well, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
when I come up, if if I come to Jerome, then what is that turnoff? What is the name of the
Holly
turnoff?
Street.
Holly Street.
Harley Street, yeah. You can't
Oh,
see the when you come up, you can't see the street name. It's hidden, but if you just look for the brick wall, the stone wall, there's that stone wall that's right close to the road, and then
yeah.
it's the first right after that stone wall ends.
And it comes up pretty quick.
Yeah, it's kind of a blind corner. So when you see that stone wall, it's not very long. You just go slowly, and then it's kind of around the corner. And when the
Yeah.
stone wall ends, that's the turn off. You turn right at
Oh,
that.
there's that mirror there too.
There's the mirror there to alert you as well, right? But the stone
Oh,
wall is
okay.
very easy. It's just the first right at the end of the stone wall.
Okay, and then it's on then when you make that right, you just go up the steps.
You go down, and then you come up the steps to that. But when you can just text me, and then I'll just keep a lookout for you. But you'll know, you'll find the place.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I still don't really have furniture, so you'll have to sit on the cushion on the floor. Got a nice.
all right, now what's happening with the furniture?
I've got a couple of little tables so far, and then Lindsay said that she'll have at least 2 chairs and potentially a sofa also that I could borrow. She's going to be using those later. Her mom's getting rid of it, but then I'm
Uh-huh.
storing it for her in the meantime. So that's positive movement. So I haven't gone to look at like Habitat or Goodwill yet, because of this what Lindsay said. But I'll go down there because Habitat. There's a big that Habitat for Humanity. They have a store like a Goodwill, and
Oh, yeah, I know.
it's there in Cottonwood. So
Yeah, we could go there together.
yeah, that would be interesting to go and see that. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
fun. That'd be fun. And then
Have you talked to Olivia?
I
Does she
have
know?
not. I
No.
messaged her, so sometimes she is out of communication range. So I was hoping she would come and check it out, but she hasn't come yet. But things go as they go with her, so I don't always know where she is and what what her things are, and there's a freedom to it, which is nice. We just express it.
uh,
Yeah, sometimes she's just out of communication range. So.
yeah, yeah.
All good. All
Uh-huh.
good. She'll come when she comes, so that's all good. All good. But last I heard, she was good and happy, and everything is good for her. So that's good.
Yeah.
So, of course, she can
Yeah.
stay here and live here if she wants to. She has that choice. So Always,
Uh-huh.
always. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, if I talk to her, do you want me to tell her that? You
oh,
want me to?
sure. Yeah, I messaged her. She knows. So,
Mm,
she knows she has the choice always. So.
she knows. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I sent her the message. So, sometimes she'll see a message, but she's busy with other stuff. It's not that she's out of communication. It's just there's nothing to respond really. She just sees it and she doesn't always respond right away. She'll get to it later. So, it's all good.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. I get a message and I look at it and
Right,
I just like, well, I'll just wait on that.
right, right,
Yeah, I'm not I don't communicate as rapidly
right.
as a lot of people.
Right, right. And Olivia's the same thing. And I know that about her and she knows I know. So it makes for very fluid and stress-free communications, which is nice. We have that
Mm-hmm.
freedom. And that freedom is a
Mm-hmm.
great joy to have. And this is, it's part of the way of impeccability to grant others the freedom. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of for me, I always say rule number one of any relationship, whether it's a friend or a worker or anybody, even with strangers, is no expectations and no obligations. When we have
Uh-huh.
that built in, that we know there are no expectations and there are no obligations. You don't have to do anything. If you respond, it's a gift. If you don't, that's fine too. So and when we have this in our interactions and all of this, it really, really just adds so much to our interactions. It gives us that freedom. And Olivia and I really have this no expectations, no obligations, no whatever it is, it is. So, and we make space
Yeah.
for each other. And I make space for Olivia to be Olivia. Olivia is a magical creature, and magical creatures do things that us ordinary people don't do. Oh, we gotta make space for it, right? I don't always understand, but I make space. So yeah, I'm just ignoramus when it comes to Olivia's magical doings. I have a little story about Olivia being an angel. It's a very serious story because, and I kind of think of her that way. A non-religious angel, of course. Like just a magical being, and magical beings do things that we don't always understand. They have a different logic to things, and we don't get it.
It's true. It's
We
true.
see that and we know that they are magical beings, then we adapt and we shift and we don't have any expectations. And even when they behave in ways that might seem like, what the hell is going on now? And we know that, oh, but they're being magical beings, then we just let it be. And we assume there's a good reason. And when we assume there's a good reason, it's quite amazing. We can find good reasons. Very
Uh,
magical.
that's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, uh,
It's very cool. I'm listening. I'm just gonna go make some toast. I'm hungry.
oh,
I'll
well,
take the computer with. So,
what time did you get on this morning?
we were early this morning. I woke up early, and then Donna, because she's on the East Coast, she probably joined a little bit before 6, I think. Yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah, it depends. It varies, but typically we are kind of in that range of close to 7 o'clock, so we're not always that early. With Beena also. Beena was on earlier and then she dropped off again, so I don't know what happened. Um, she's not feeling well, Beena, so I don't know if it's a connection or if not, but anyway, hope she comes back. Oh, it's cold
uh-huh.
out here. It's cold out here. I was nice
Oh,
and
is it?
toasty over
Well, wait
there.
a minute. Is the gas is going to give you heat, right?
It's like coming today to put it on, yeah. So I
And
don't have
that's
any.
heat.
That's
That's
heat and
heat.
hot water.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be so cold up there.
Well,
Oh,
I found my electric blanket. So I
I
have
know
the
you tell.
electric blanket on over there. So, hey, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. So they could come at any point.
Yes,
All right.
yes, yes. They can come
Well,
at any point.
you know what? I think what I'll do is let you go have your toast since I arrived late.
Oh, I can chat while I make the toast. It's no big deal. I do
Oh,
it all
you
the
can
time.
chat?
Oh, sure. I'm
Okay.
chatting now. Yeah, you see.
Ah, okay.
That's why I like the laptop, I just you take it with or the phone, either way.
Uh-huh.
It's very simple. So
Yeah.
I love talking while I do make food or eat it. You know, it's
Oh, okay. All right.
multitasking.
I feel like I'm ready to participate in life's adventure. When I come down here, I
Yes,
I don't feel as if I'm participating a whole lot, you know.
you are. You are. You are.
I
Yes.
am, I
Yes.
am, I am. Well,
Yes. I hear you when you say participating in life's adventure, in the adventure of life. Yes, I hear what
yes.
you're saying, and that's very
Yeah.
magical. That's a huge deal, Sherry. I want to just kind of stop a moment to emphasize what you just said. What you just said is something huge. It's a huge shift. It's a simple shift, but the consequence of what you just said, that shift, it's a massive shift in your internalness to say, whoa, you know what? Life is an adventure and I want to fully participate.
I
This is
don't feel as if I'm fully participating.
right. But now
Feel
you will because you've set that intent to fully participate. And that intent is there.
yeah, well, I think, I think that, uh, well, Tom is very settled, you know, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
when I'm with him, I get a little too settled into
Yes.
his settledness,
Yes.
and and it
Yes.
and you know, I do that. I do that when I come down here because most of the time because you know, I'm tired or you know, and it
Right.
works for me to come down and
It's a
just
balance. It's a balancing
yeah.
mechanisms to when you've been frenetic and frantic. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are if you're already chilled, then it's overbalance. So you have to just
Yes.
manage it. Yeah. Sherry,
I'm
can
over
you,
chilled. Yes, thank you.
exactly. Can you hold on to that just 1 second? I'll be back in
Yes,
one
yes,
moment.
yes, yes,
One
yes,
moment.
yes.
One moment. Alrighty then. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying about being over chilled, you know.
Yeah, being over chilled and I'm yes,
Yeah.
and I'm I'm hearing about you know, like you know, like my sisters going here and there and everywhere,
Yeah.
and I hear all these people doing all these things, and I feel like I'm missing out, you know, by being over
Yeah, but
chilled.
right, but they again might be being over frantic again also, right?
Yeah,
It's all
maybe.
about
Well,
balance. It's all about balance.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah. And here's
maybe.
the key, Sherry. When we are looking at this adventure of life, how we adventure, it is an entirely personal matter. There's no set way to adventure. You can
No, I
adventure
know.
chilled, you can adventure frantic, you can adventure excited, you can adventure calm. There's all sorts of ways to adventure. You got to adventure as appropriate to you. That's the key.
I'm trying to find that. I'm trying to figure that one out.
Right. So the key is to do exactly and precisely what you want to do.
Herein lies the problem, the issue. It's not really an issue. I'm trying to figure out how to get to a new phase in my life.
Yeah, yeah. You
Which
you
is,
already just did. You just did it this morning when you said, hey, I want to, I am going to, I am already, I'm now choosing to fully participate in the adventure of life. That is the doing. That is it. That awareness, that's the doing, Sherry. You don't really need to do a whole lot more except pay attention to what it is that you feel like doing and do it. It's as simple as that. It's a shift of awareness. It's a shift of perspective. There's not really a doing involved. You've already done it. That shift, that's the doing.
I like that.
Yeah, that's it. You've already done it.
Yeah.
It's just to be aware that life is an adventure. That awareness, that alone is enough. It's incredible. It's incredible how just awareness can be completely transformative.
Well, I have that autoimmune disorder, and
Right.
it's spiked. It has spiked
Oh,
very
wow.
high, and I just got the test results back. And when it spikes as high as it spiked, it makes me I feel sometimes I get really depressed because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, and it makes it's more challenging for me to participate
Yes,
because
yes.
I go really inward.
Yeah, yeah. But
So
now you
I'm
have the awareness of what's involved. So now
yeah,
you know
yeah.
why and you know how to remedy it. Yes?
Well, I don't know how to remedy it. Herein lies the issue. I don't know how to remedy this. I got a special a special diet, and it's all this weird food, as you would say. It's not very much fun. It's just eating fruits and vegetables, and you can't have
Yeah,
sugar, you can't have this, you can't have that, and I don't like restrictions real well. So I'm looking at the special diet, and um,
right. But your remedy is participation in the adventure.
well, yes, I'm ready, but
Right,
I've got
but that's the remedy. That's the remedy, is participation in the adventure. Now, there's many ways to participate in an adventure.
participation. Oh,
Yeah, you can participate. Doesn't mean that
well,
you
this
with
is not the
people.
way I really want to participate.
Right. No, no, no. I wasn't meaning
Does
by the food. I meant in any way to participate in the adventure. You can participate in the adventure on your own. It doesn't mean you're doing stuff with others, or you can be on others. For instance, these Zoom sessions. This is a participation. Going hanging out with your friends, going to the coffee shop.
yeah,
Anything you do is participation. Going for a
yeah.
walk in the wilderness on your own is participation. Going for a drive is participation. If you drive with a sense of adventure, that's participation in the adventure.
Yes, I got it. I understand.
Yeah.
Um, um, the other thing, when I come back, the my casita it's in the juniper,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's a very, very big issue for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's leading to the uncertainty
Right.
of, do I need a new adventure in living somewhere else? And I don't even want to open that doorway because um,
Right. Part of adventuring is to take it one day at a time, right?
yeah, I know. It's like, whoa, what a massive door to open. Where in the world am I going to live?
Right. But if you set the intent, you pay attention, leave your awareness
Hmm.
open, things come.
Yeah, well, I am. I'm paying
Mhm.
attention. Yeah.
Right.
So,
So we practice trust, capital T trust, right?
yeah.
Part of being in an adventure is to absolutely trust that things will work out. Yes?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
When
Well,
it comes to your living space, trust that things will work out.
That's the big one.
Right.
Yes.
Because
That
you know,
is the big one.
there are two ways that situation can resolve itself.
Yeah.
One, you find a different place, and two, your body changes where the allergies are no longer affect you.
Uh-huh.
But that too that happens, you know, especially if we set that intent and we start to incrementally minimize things and change the habit to say, oh, it doesn't affect me as much anymore. Oh wow, this is cool. And then the body says, oh, I don't have to respond this way. And you train the body to react to the juniper differently. So, you know, that's another way to resolve that problem. I'm just saying it can go both ways, you see. So adventure is
Yeah.
very exciting. We never know, you know, which way things can
Well, it
turn
is
out.
exciting. I think I think that when I do cut out all those the sugars and all the stuff that I love, I do feel better. But
Oh wow, okay.
yeah,
Again, you just have
you know, when
to
I add all the weird food in there, it's not fun, but
gotcha. But if you
it's
make
kind
it,
of like, yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say, when you make it a deliberate choice, it becomes much easier to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
you do that effort reward balance, right?
Uh-huh. That's right. So I think what I'm gonna do, I, so I need to be on Wi-Fi to be on Zoom. I
Yes.
can't be on my wireless. I can't be on
Um,
my,
on your
can
cell
I?
phone?
Yeah.
Maybe you can do it from your cell phone. It's possible. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wonder if I can because it's because sometimes these coffee shops get pretty noisy.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
can access the internet through your cell phone, then yes, you can access Zoom. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to try that.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
it'd be
well,
interesting to know.
yeah, I've got to try that. Okay, I
It'd be
will.
very
All
interesting to
right.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could try it
Okay.
now if you want to. You just go to your Wi-Fi settings and click disconnect and see what happens.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you know that I didn't even, I did not connect to Wi-Fi when I got in here. I am wireless right now
Well,
because
well, there's your answer.
there's my answer. And
Yeah.
yesterday I went to get unlimited gigabytes.
Oh, right.
So I have that option now.
Yeah. Oh, good. So then it doesn't matter if you connect to the local internet, the Wi-Fi, or not. If you use your cell or the Wi-Fi, it makes no difference because you have unlimited data. So
Yeah, which way do I get less which way do I get less of the EMFs if I connect to the local Wi-Fi
I
or if
don't think
I
it
go
makes any
wireless?
difference. I don't think it makes any difference
Oh,
because that comes from the phone itself,
oh,
you know. So,
oh,
you know, you're not sitting with the phone to your ear, so it's not a factor. The radiation from a phone, it's only if it's
yeah.
very close. You know, it drops off disproportionately. So you have to be like a quarter inch away, and then it maybe has a bit of effect. At a half inch and an inch, it gets half,
Uh-huh.
and so you know when you a few inches away, it has zero effect essentially. So yeah, people
And what
forget
about
that.
with these?
Yeah.
What about with the headphones?
No, the headphones are just sound. That's not. There's nothing there. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't conduct through
No, it
headphones.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm beginning to think that it would be quite an adventure to go to Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
Maybe what excites me is to get the to get the videos live
Oh, yeah.
and then to do some of those loose finishing touches,
Right.
get Pinterest and all that kind of stuff
Right.
set up,
Right.
and then take off and go,
There you
on an
go.
adventure,
Right.
Yeah.
And once we have Facebook and Pinterest and so on, it's all set up.
Yeah. Well,
It's very simple.
I have not heard back from Fine Art America yet.
Oh, wow.
I keep calling them. They're
Have you
just
checked your
really
email?
not this morning, not
Oh.
yet. I'll check my email. I will do that.
And what I was going to say is, once we have Facebook and Pinterest, the places to share too set up, you can share and make them public. You can make the videos on YouTube public and share them from anywhere. You don't have to be here to do that.
Yeah, no, I know. I
Yeah.
just want to go through the process with
Right.
you so I
Right.
know what
Oh
the
yeah.
heck,
Oh
and I
yeah.
want to
Oh
talk about
absolutely.
it
Oh yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. So, and I want to go over I'd like to go over that Airbnb thing, and have a
Yes. Yes.
conversation
That
with
will
you
be
about that.
very very helpful. That will be a big deal to go over
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
so. I think so. So I am feeling prepared to come back. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
I,
Excellent.
I, I think I've been a Vegematic for enough days, and I'm ready to participate more. So
Everything is as appropriate, right?
yeah.
It's
Uh-huh.
appropriate according to you and how you feel and your energy. That's what determines appropriateness. Nobody else. You, your moods, your feelings, your energy, what you want.
Yeah.
Now, here's
Yeah.
the key with this: doing what we want. People say, oh, yeah, but won't that just be indulgent if you just do what you want? It could be, yeah. But this is the point of impeccability. When we're impeccable, we cannot be indulgent. It's not possible. The two just don't go together. So, right, if we understand that we have a deep sensibility, an innate sensibility, and that once we this concept this conception of impeccability and integrity comes into play, and not indulging, when this becomes part of our being, right, then we can say, oh, you know what, it's not actually possible for me to be indulgent. So if I feel something, I cannot want what is bad. It's just not possible, right?
Yeah.
I can't want stupidity. So I have to trust my wants and my likes. And therefore, if I do what I want to do, what I feel like doing, and I
Yeah, I
know
have
that
to
I'm
trust
also
the inner
impeccable.
prompts. You have to trust the prompts.
Exactly.
And I think I get frustrated when those prompts those inner prompts don't come in. Like I've been down in Phoenix for 5 days now, and I haven't had very many prompts at all. I've had
Right.
pretty much nothing. It's been pretty dull, and I'm thinking,
Right.
oh my
But this is
gosh.
also, there's a magic to things, and the universe will help us and assist us to learn what we need to learn, but which we might not necessarily want to learn. So patience is one such thing that the universe will constantly pressure us to learn and acquire. To
Uh-huh.
really and truly acquire true patience. So the universe has been prompting you. It's been
Ah.
prompting you to acquire patience. Capital P,
Oh.
patience. Yes.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
for me, it feels like laziness.
No, and that's the point what I was saying to you, with something that has been putting pressure on you, Sherry. When I said to you way early on, I said you have some inactivity guilt. You see, when you say, oh, just learning patience feels like laziness, this is from that legacy conditioning that we were told you must be doing something, you must be productive,
Yeah.
you've got to be useful. That's bullshit. You can be absolutely useful by just being. Why? Because you're not being negative. When you're not being negative,
Uh-huh.
you are making the world a better place. So simple as that. As simple as that. It's very powerful.
Uh-huh.
This recording, I should have switched. We should have ended when you come. Not that it matters, but I'm going to send it to you because it has the with Donna. What Donna and I did was, and Beena a little bit, but she dropped off. We did a module precisely on just being and what it means to just be, and how just being makes a difference in the world. So I'll send this to you as well.
Ah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
is that going to come via text message or email?
I'll send it to you as an email, and there's a link in the email that you can just click the link,
Oh, I like that.
and then
I
you
like
can
that.
watch it. Yes, yes. I've sent you a
Uh-huh.
couple of others already. Whenever all of these, when we do the Zooms, I record them always, just a good habit, because a lot of times we really discuss stuff really in detail, and it's really potent, and it's very nice to go over it again afterwards. So usually what I'll do, like in a case like that with Donna, then I'll just end meeting and start a new one so that I have two
Uh-huh.
separate recordings. But in this case, it's actually useful that it's one recording, because
Oh,
what you
okay.
are saying about the adventure, it connects so potently to exactly that module, that session that we were doing, that it was all about learning how to be and what being means. And when you hear Donna's takeaway at the end, oh, it was so just magical what she said. It really, the resonation and resonance and the connectivity for her, and how she said and expressed it, it made a big difference, and it has in resolving something for her. And this is the similar thing for you also. You'll see what I mean when you hear it. It's very
Yeah,
magical.
no, I've got to hear that. I do.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Tom and I had a few errands to do. We went down into town. It was really interesting to see how important uh, food was to me.
Yes.
It was like,
Yes. Yes.
it
Little
was
things.
almost comical
Yeah.
that he wanted to go to the Italian restaurant to get their lunch special. And I said, oh no, but I can't eat that food, and so I said I can eat at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he did not dispute that 1 minute, because he wants me to be happy. So he didn't
Yeah. That's
dispute
sweet
it.
of him. That's
We,
sweet of him. Yeah.
well, yeah, but so we end up at Whole Foods. The food was so bad. It was
Oh wow.
so awful. I could hardly eat it.
Wow.
And
Wow. Wow.
I said to him, you have to express what you really want, because when you're giving in to me like that, it doesn't serve either of us,
Yes. Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it was, it's been interesting.
Yeah. That's very fascinating. Here in Sedona, um, 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 conscious meals, Hortensia, she is geared to your diet that you need to do. That's precisely what she makes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I did go in there. For some
Right.
reason, I thought it was
Right.
maybe too raw for me, or too,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Well, maybe it's changed since you went, but
yeah,
so when we in Sedona together, we'll go
yeah,
together, and I'll introduce
yeah,
you. And she even does custom meals and stuff. So you can
yeah.
discuss your diet with her, and she'll tell you what.
I need to do more cooking for myself, is what I
Yes,
do. But I
yes,
don't particularly love to be in my casita during the day.
right, right, right,
Usually I like to be out all day.
right, right, right.
You know, I
But
just go
yeah, I
there
mean,
to sleep.
so the diet thing, that you can at least, even if you do go outside and elsewhere, her cooking is so precisely yours. That will give you that freedom to at least know that every now and then you have this exactly what you need, and then for the
Yeah.
rest, if eating out at wherever, it's not quite exactly, but you have that balance between the two, and that will help you a
Okay.
lot. And it's stuff that you can
That's.
buy and put in your fridge, and make it yourself, just
Oh,
warm up
okay.
and so
All
on. Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's
Okay.
ready
I'll have
made.
to
It's
check
ready
it
made.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go together, and I can introduce you, and you can have a nice discussion with her about your dietary
Yeah.
needs. So that
Yeah,
will
that
help you.
sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very
That
exciting.
sounds real good.
Yeah, yeah.
So, wow, maybe that art of being that I've done for the past 5 days has been good. It's because I woke up this morning. I'm
It's
saying,
huge.
okay, I've had enough. I've got to get
Yes,
out of here.
yes. Because look what you've been doing. You've been perspective shifting. And through this, it's given you time to say, oh, wow. And that awareness of wanting and intending to participate in the adventure that is life. This, Sherry, it seems so simple right now. But actually, if you were to look back on your life at some point, you say, there came a moment when I made a shift, and I became aware that life is an adventure. And I became aware that, wait a minute, I want to participate in this adventure. This is a huge thing, Sherry. So this till time, it
I'm
enabled
still
you to
not
come
talking
to
to
that.
strangers though. Yeah, but
But that will
I'm
come. That will
still,
come.
I
You don't
mean,
have
I'm just
to.
like,
Uh,
I don't,
yeah.
I mean, like,
They'll
when I
talk
go
to
to the
you.
coffee shops, well, they do, but
There you go.
I try to, I try to hide, you know.
Yeah, but that's just something that's just a new habit to acquire, and you just try it. Don't go jumping into the fire. Do it little by little. So the next time somebody says something
Uh-huh.
to you, you just say a little bit back, tiny bit, no commitment, no expectations, no obligations, and see what happens. That's adventure.
Yeah.
Adventure is seeing what happens.
Uh-huh.
Right. You make that little bit, you're just putting yourself in a place to allow things to happen. So when somebody, like,
I
for instance,
don't, yeah.
yeah, when you sit in a coffee shop, you are opening the door for things to happen. Somebody
I
comes,
didn't realize that I was so that I've become so internal and so
yeah,
aloof, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I had
yeah,
no idea.
yeah. Self-discovery, self-discovery. It's huge. It's what we're all about. It's the
Yeah. I
whole
mean,
thing. So, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Huh.
And then also in terms of participation and adventure, um, let's make a specific plan to do the workshop, the perspective shifting for self-discovery. It is a very powerful workshop, and to do it, and like especially if you do it with a couple of friends, it makes it even
Yeah.
more powerful.
Yeah. Let's do it next week at the
Yes,
house.
yes, yes.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
do it. That will be another discussion we need to have.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
oh yeah. So
yeah.
when we go
All
over
right.
all your Airbnb paperwork and the
Yeah.
accounting of that, then all of that will be part of that discussion, and that will be very powerful. But yeah, I want to do that workshop with you and with a couple of
Yeah.
your friends, because when there's other people involved, it gives the extra perspectives and it really leverages it. So this is very powerful. This is a very,
Yeah.
very big deal.
Now,
Um,
yesterday I was talking to my friend who lives in Pagosa Springs, and she said she would like to sponsor me to come to Pagosa Springs to do a
wow,
workshop there. Well,
wow.
I did it last year. I did one there. Um,
Oh,
and
cool.
my first impulse was like, well, I don't feel it was interesting for me because I felt, well, I wouldn't know what to offer,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
because I feel like I'm changing. I don't know what I'm changing into. So it's like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like I'm still in
Right,
that place of,
right.
and I'm in a transition, and I don't know what the transition
Yes,
is going.
yes,
And it's like I feel like I'm coming out very cautiously.
yes, and that's
Um,
important. And this is very important to be aware of, that you are transitioning, and also this is why patience. The universe is saying patience, Sherry, patience. This process cannot be rushed. This process is a slow process. The way of impeccability, because it's not a belief system. It is a toolbox. But to acquire that toolbox, it's a minimum of 8 weeks. So talking about transition, I mean, it's a life change program, right? And it just facilitates people who want to life change to figure out how to do it and what they want to do. So it's not what I think is useful; it's what you do. But the point I'm making is that it takes time. 8 weeks is the
mhm.
minimum. Usually, it takes 3 months. Maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal to have that patience to say, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm going to be. And this is a huge, huge point. And it's a big deal because it enables that patience and that just waiting and seeing and observing and finding yourself and discovering yourself. That's why that workshop is a big deal, because it's specifically geared to facilitating that self discovery. It's called perspective shifting
It's
for
like,
self
how in the
discovery.
world can I reach this point and feel like I don't know who I am anymore?
Yes, but just wait. That's the part of adventure. Adventure is a profound act in exciting patience. Yeah, it is, because look, shift your perspective rather than seeing it as stressful, seeing it as exciting. Sherry, think of it this
Exciting.
way. You could have stayed in that situation where you weren't aware that you needed to be aware of who you are. You could have continued to live in a bubble, in other words, a bubble of believing that you know who you are. And that's a very limiting belief. Now that bubble is broken. Yes, it's a little uncertain, but at the same token, focus on the positive aspect of it. This is exciting. Oh my goodness, you are on a path to figuring out the moreness that is you. How cool is that? Yeah. Isn't that a big deal, Sherry? That's very exciting. It's very exciting to know also that there is a moreness to you. Undoubtedly, there's a huge moreness to Sherry. And connecting to that, living it, experiencing it, enjoying it, that's the adventure that you've started on. Now remember what we said when we first started chatting, when you first came onto the Zoom things, and we talked about the beginning of this process that we're engaged in, how it can be overwhelming, how it can lead to confusion, feeling lost, even feeling a bit depressed. Right now, that is the thing. So be aware this is part of the process to feel this overwhelm, to feel a bit depressed, feel a bit lost, because we realize that what we were is way, way, way not enough. What we were was limited. And that's a very, very, very powerful and empowering awareness if we shift perspective on it, to see it as the start of a magical journey, not the loss of something, not as a negative.
Yeah,
You know, your
that's
intent
interesting.
to participate in the adventure of life, you are doing it right now.
So in other words, so I'm coming out of the bubble.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And look, Sherry, when you're on an adventure, isn't uncertainty part of adventuring?
Well, I would go into the wilderness, that
Exactly.
was, but I'm not going into the
You
wilderness. I'm
are
doing it.
right now. You in the wilderness when it as it relates to who you are. See, it's a different
Uh-huh.
wilderness. It's a metaphoric wilderness. It's a spiritual wilderness. It's a psychological wilderness. But no less is it a wilderness than physically going into the wilderness.
I don't know how this is going to impact my relationships, I mean,
It will only improve them. Only improve them. Always. These things are just magical for improving relationships. Because the more you
I,
know
I might
yourself,
I might look at my relationship with Tom and say it's too small or too I that I
then you
that's
adapt and you shift. That is the
well
world we
then
live
how do
in.
I shift? Yeah, I know.
Well,
How do
you
I
shift
adapt?
just according to appropriateness and you wait for the universe to bring the shifts and that will happen. It's very simple. Or you just make a decision to shift and you shift. It's not a big deal. Very
Yeah.
simple. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
not a big deal for you. It's easy for you, but
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, we can make these things into a bigger deal than what they need to be. We just
uh-huh.
transition and your relationship doesn't have to end. It can just change
No.
into a different relationship. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's many ways to have relationships. There's no fixed rule that says a relationship has to be this way or that way. There's
Yeah.
any number of possibilities for a relationship, and nothing says relationships have to stay in exactly the same way either. You know,
Uh-huh.
and when the relationship transitions, it livens up the relationship and enhances it typically, because otherwise you also get into a rut and routine, and things get boring and limiting. So it's always good. Always good.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, to insist on positivity is a very key element, to finding that positive element. It's always there. We just have to insist on it and connect to it. It's always there in all things. It doesn't matter. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yes, I
So
see
having
that.
it doesn't mean that your relationship it may change, but we tend to think, oh, change is like an end. No, it can change for better. It can be very different. You can end up in a completely different type of relationship with the same person or persons, and it doesn't mean that
Well,
it's that
yeah,
it
he
change.
just told me he just said that he just wants me to be happy. That's all he cares
Exactly,
about. That's
exactly,
all he cares about
exactly.
is that I'm
Right.
happy.
And when
I
you're
mean,
happy, he is happy,
well,
right?
that's codependent. I told him that's
Somewhat, but not. It's not quite in the same way. That's just it's a freedom. that he just is enjoying. It's like, when the trees are happy, you're happy. The same thing. I'm not codependent with the trees, but when I see alive trees and they just being trees, wow, I get lots of pleasure from trees. When it's a sickly tree, well, that's not so good. But when the tree's just normal and healthy, I love them. I'm not codependent with them. I just love them.
I don't know how he's able to put up with
Uh,
my changeability.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He does.
Oh, I hear you. And there are angels. There are angels among us. So
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah,
He's one of
yeah,
them.
yeah. Earth
Um,
angels, I call them.
Earth angels. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, this is very interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's very
This
powerful.
is,
Yeah. So change is not to be feared. It is to be embraced. Change is adventure. Uncertainty is adventure. When we start to embrace it and look forward to it and say, oh, you know what? I never know what's going to happen. How exciting is that? And also I know that, yeah, okay, sometimes things stay the same, but at the same time they don't. And I'm okay with it either way. That freedom to embrace change, this is a huge deal. And also when we learn to see uncertainty as a positive rather than a negative, changes our entire world.
well, there's a lot of uncertainty now.
Right, but uncertainty is adventure. You said you want to embrace the adventure that is life. In order to embrace adventure, we need to embrace uncertainty because uncertainty is an integral part of adventure, right?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Isn't
don't feel.
uncertainty surprise? It's newness, it's variability. Uncertainty is lack of boredom, it's lack of same old, same old. It's newness, it's stimulation, it's new gifts, new awarenesses, new understandings. All of that come from uncertainty. Uncertainty is a magical, magical, fantastically positive thing. We've only learned to see uncertainty as negative. It's a learned behavior, it's not a fact. You like uncertainty. You might not say it in those words, but you like newness, you like change, you like variability, you like excitement. That's all uncertainty. Yeah?
uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I like it. I just want to. It's like I guess I'm just being impatient. I want to see. Uh,
Right.
oh, I wish I could have a roommate over at my casita.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that would help.
Yeah. So this is a powerful intent also to set up your intent to say, hey, you want a situation where you can have a roommate or maybe even more than one, because this is something that's a big deal for you to live in a community, like Donna
Yeah,
was saying. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't have
Why
to be
did
just one.
I missed that at living in the community?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So all of
Well,
this,
I'm wondering why I would like that.
yeah. Well, because you're a very social being,
Well, no, I haven't demonstrated social
but you
qualities.
are. You like community. You like interacting. You just have been but selective in your interactions, which is good. But
Yeah.
also, you can open that up, and you can set the mood and the tone for interactions. When I
Mhm.
interact with people, for instance, because I'm very deliberately aware of this, I cue a particular style and interaction, and I cue people to respond to with moreness and not to come at me and say, "Oh, what's your favorite movie and your favorite color and junk like that." It means nothing because my favorite movie and colors and whatever foods they may be the same as a serial killer's. It doesn't tell you anything about me, you know. It doesn't mean anything. But when you ask
Yeah.
me what's important to me, what matters to me, what am I thinking about, what am I feeling in terms of how I want to live my life, that kind of stuff. Now we start to have a conversation, and anybody's open for that. We just have to create that environment and cue it. So when somebody says, how are you, then you can say, I'm living an adventure, I'm embracing a life as an adventure. Whoa, right there, you've just changed the whole dynamic of interaction. They'll say, wow, that's fantastic, Sherry. That's really interesting because it blows their mind. They never heard somebody say something like that. But now you put them into a story, right? That is a different kind of a story conversation. And they kind of have to respond. And how do you mean? Oh, what does that mean exactly? How do you do it? And you see what I'm saying? Now you have a conversation and a discussion on something that's important to you. And also, of course, by extension, because you're not selling something, You're not selling some belief. You are just sharing what's a self-evident sensibility. They can respond and say, wow, okay. And then you have the self-discussion. Very simple. I'm just saying that we can set the tone and the mood. We can be in charge of conversations and how we interact with people. We're not dependent on them to do it. We can be the ones that set how we discuss things and how we interact. Very powerful, Sherry. Very powerful. Doing
So
is
you
a
think
belief.
this thing of community living could be a good thing?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
But I don't want to, I think I've done, because I don't want to take on other people's burdens and their stuff,
Right. So what you need to do is set up a situation where your community is a free community. One where you can come and go as you please, and there's no expectations and no obligations. So let's say you're in a community, you're living in a house, everybody's got their room with their own bathroom, and yes, you share the kitchen and you share the living room. Now, if you want to come and go and you have your private entrance, for argument's sake, and you don't want to interact with the house and you just want to go eat in a restaurant, nobody holds that against you. You're not expected to cook there. You're not expected to hang out in the living room. You're not expected to even say hello if you don't want to. You can be free to do what you like. If you do want to interact and you feel like it, then you come and you do, and everybody's happy with that. So that's the kind of situation where you have that freedom. Everybody respects that freedom, and you give it to each other. In other words, we get back to this point of no expectations and no obligations.
Yeah, I have that with Tom.
Yes, exactly.
I have that with Tom. I just like, it's
yes,
like,
yes.
I'll see you later,
Right. And he has no expectations from you, and he doesn't demand anything from you.
No.
In other words, there's no obligations. So yes, if you take Tom as a model for this, it is huge and profound.
He would be a good roommate.
Yes, yes. Hello, Beena. Hello, Beena. Hello, Beena.
Oh, Beena's back.
Yes.
I think that I am ready to get off so that I can. I have a few things to do, and then I'm going to head up north.
Okay.
Okay. And I will text you. Yeah.
Yeah. I say if you want to come by here, and we can, if you have the papers for the Airbnb stuff, we can do that. We can connect you to Pinterest and Facebook and all the social media so that you can start sharing your stuff. We can do it all here from my place, as long as you don't mind sitting on a pillow in the floor. Otherwise, bring a chair with.
I don't need anything.
Okay.
I can sit right on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I have comfortable cushions, so that's not a problem.
Oh, okay. All right. So I will text you.
Okay.
When I get close in, and I'll see if the gas people have arrived.
Yes.
And if they've already arrived, we can meet in Sedona or whatever.
Yes.
And
Brilliant. Brilliant.
All right. I'll text you later.
Okay. Talk to you later, Sherry.
All right. Bye. Bye, Beena.
Hello and bye, Beena.
Hi, Beena. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Sherry. My network, my power was breakdown, so I dropped off, and so I was not able to do that. Okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm getting ready to drive up north to come back to Sedona.
Share with Beena your profound awareness and decision and intent that you've set.
Well,
the first thing you said to me when we came on today, you said, I've decided to participate. Sherry?
It's I can't vocalize it. I've decided to participate in more of life, and I realized I've been living in too much of a bubble, too much of a container, which is it's not working. I've outgrown it, and I don't know what I don't know what I'm growing into, and for me, it brings up a lot of fear.
Yeah. We are talking, Beena, but when we said we
depression,
the start of this process that we involved, the way of impeccability, it leads to this awareness that you're in now. It is part of the process. And remember this feeling now, this feeling of overwhelm and uncertainty. Remember it, Sherry, because there's going to
Yes.
come a time in the future, in a couple of weeks' time or a couple of months' time, where you're going to look back at this and you're going to say, hey, I came through it. I can resolve. I can overcome. I can deal with overwhelm. I
Wow.
can figure out stuff. And you're going to be empowered. But remember this feeling now. Remember this day. This is a very important day. It's a huge, huge, huge day. It is the day you chose to get onto the
Yes.
path to freedom.
This is so amazing. This is so amazing. Sherry, I feel that like you already have wings, but now you are spreading your wings, ready to
Yeah,
fly.
yeah.
You
Well,
already had that.
yeah, I already had it, but it's becoming bigger, and it's like,
Yes, yes,
Yes, and
yes,
and
now you
it's
are
like
spreading.
yes, yes. That's huge. That's
and
huge.
it's brought up so much.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's
Little
like I
by
don't.
Wow.
little,
It's like I. Yeah.
yeah, and focus on the patience, Sherry. I cannot emphasize how much patience is absolutely critical, because without patience, there isn't time for things to settle and assimilate and bubble through and come up. Look at how you being really chill there down at Tom's, where you weren't doing anything, but you were doing a lot, actually. Internally, spiritually, emotionally, psychological, you were doing tremendous amounts of stuff, right? But the physical
Well.
doings weren't getting in the way of the internal doings. Stuff happens inside of us, even when we don't really specifically think about it. Stuff happens, and stuff, lots, lots happened while you were down there at Tom. The end result is this profound shift in your entire life right now. And that's a consequence of you just basically not doing anything, not no physical doings, but internally things were percolating, they were settling, they were assimilating, they were resolving. And you came to this profound awareness, this profound decision, and this profound intent. You've set an intent to shift your life into more. That's a huge, 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 huge deal.
And it's
Yes,
okay not to know what it's going to look like.
exactly. Overwhelm is part of the process. It is an overwhelming decision. So understand that feeling overwhelmed right now, or even confused or lost, it's expected. It's part of the process. And remember it, because you're going to say, hey, I'm simply going to persist. I'm going to be patient and persist and focus on progression and do the little things that I can do that are easy to do. And through that, I'm going to continue and I'm going to grow. And when we finished, or not finished, there's no real end to this, but in a couple of weeks' time, in a couple of months' time, you're going to look back at this and you can say, hey, I can overcome overwhelm. I can deal with
Yeah.
uncertainty. I can deal with myself. I can deal with not knowing. I can wait. I can persist. I can be patient. I can progress. So that empowerment of the I can, it's coming. This is the start of it. So remember today, it's an important day.
I think that's why I spend so much time away from people
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They're very curious. My family is extremely curious about
Ah,
how I think and what's going on, and I don't
right.
share a whole lot because I don't think they get it.
Right, but they will, and you will be able
Yeah,
to, as we go through this and we
yeah,
continue through the way of impeccability, you will develop the ability to express and articulate. Beena,
yeah,
Beena,
Mhm.
Donna and
Yes.
I continue doing the session, right? The online session.
Yes.
And at the
Yes.
end
I
of it,
know.
Donna did a takeaway. And that takeaway of hers, she could have been up on a TED talk, giving a little mini TED talk. It was so just
Mhm.
articulate. She was elucidating beautifully. It was
Wow.
just magical to hear her, right? It was just really beautiful. And no stumbling, no nothing. Not that we don't mind stumbling, but it was just like she was giving a presentation, because she was speaking from her heart and she was saying what matters and what's important to her. But you remember how Donna was in the beginning when it came to expressing herself.
Oh yes.
So when I'm
Yes.
saying this in the context of you sharing yourself to your friends and your family, Sherry, it will come. And when you listen to this recording later, and you hear why Donna says she's now able to express herself, it will give you perspective on what we're doing and how we get to things. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So this is a very magical Zoom. This one. There's lots of magic involved. Lots and lots. Very cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.
Yes. Bye-bye, Sherry.
Thank you so much. Bye, Beena.
Always a pleasure.
Bye, Sherry. I just feel sorry for myself that I missed that. But hopefully things will get better soon.
Oh, aren't we approaching a full moon on Sunday? Is it Sunday, or when is the full moon?
Yes. Full moon in Leo.
There you go.
Oh, a full moon in Leo. Oh my! And wait a minute, my North Node is Leo.
Guess I was gonna say, guess who's a Leo?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Are you a Leo, Sherry?
No, I'm an Aries, but my
Aries.
North Node is Leo.
your
So I
North
think
Node
that
is
would be a good time to send out my first video, maybe tomorrow.
Did you get that time for Sherry?
If she's ready, I can adjust, because there are so many other factors also involved in that. Yes, moon is in Leo, and Sherry, today Venus also moves in Aries.
So today or tomorrow is a good day to start sharing?
So, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes, I will. It's not just about day; it's about time also.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Perfect.
It needs to be a bit from my side. If you want to avail that, you just use that. It will be a specific time slot for almost an hour. If it is okay for you.
Can you say now what it is, Beena, or do we need to come back later?
No, I have to check, because I was waiting for Sherry. She said she need time for that. I said, okay. I will check later.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm good. I mean, if you know now, I could write down the times.
Yeah.
Or I have to check your local time. Then I will calculate the specific time slot. It will be around 45-minute time slot.
That would be useful.
So that in that time, if you just make it happen, so it will. I hope that it will give you more results. And Venus return, happy Venus return, Sherry. You will enjoy this time now.
Yeah. My Venus is in Aries.
Yeah, and now it's you are in Aries, and your Venus is also in Aries.
Venus. No, wait a minute. My Venus is in. Where is my Venus? Is in. My Venus is in. I think my Venus is in Aries. That's right. My Venus is in Aries. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, so you have double things, like, okay, you are an Aries sun, I guess.
Yeah, I'm an Aries sun. My Venus in Aries. My Mars is in Cancer.
And you are
Gemini rising, and my moon is in Sagittarius.
Wow. Okay. So all fire. Venus is in fire. Sun is in fire. Moon is in fire. Wow.
And Sherry's head is on fire.
And my head is on fire. And my north node is in Leo, and I'm on fire a lot, and so I have to watch how I regulate my fire.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, because my adrenals. I can burn out my adrenals, so I have to. Move, I have to really observe where I put my fire, and I have to be.
But
this is why
the most fiery.
So
the most fiery planet is in water.
My what planet?
The most fiery planet is in water sign.
Yeah.
Mars is in Cancer.
Yeah.
So it's quite balanced. But you are having Venus return, and you can see that on that particular day, if you know the degree of your Venus, when Venus will come back onto that degree of Aries, and just observe the day, you will see the theme throughout the year, you will see that theme, but how your day went, you will see that how things will happen in the year. It's quite magical.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just try to treat yourself with good things on that day.
Well,
Those are pudding
okay.
days.
Oh yes,
Ah,
chocolate pudding day.
well, I can't eat chocolate
Yeah,
anymore.
but
Not
any
right
pudding,
now.
any
Oh,
pudding, any pudding, any
Pudding.
pudding, just pudding
Well,
days.
well, but I have to. What I've noticed is with this Hashimoto's, with the numbers being so elevated, with the special diet, I can't eat. I have to figure out how to make a pudding.
hmm.
With stuff I can eat, and
Yeah, and
it's
you did. It just was a slow
Ah,
one, but you did. And it was a good pudding, especially when you added the coconut. So that was good.
yeah.
Good.
No, I think I can figure it out.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
All
Brilliant.
right.
Brilliant.
Well, I'm gonna go so I
Yeah.
can get
Yeah.
on the road.
okay,
And
Excellent. Bye
okay,
bye,
okay.
Sherry.
all right. Well,
Bye
thank
bye.
you,
Bye
Beena.
bye.
Thank
Oh,
you.
No,
I'll
no,
see
you're
you later,
welcome. You're
Leon.
welcome.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Bye.
yes,
All
yes.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye bye.
bye. Bye
Ah,
for now.
magical. 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 All right. Brilliant. Beena. Beena.
Yes.
Beena. Beena. Beena.
Mm.
I'm pleased you're back. So Donna is coming back. But what I want to do is while Donna comes back, she leaves and she comes back. I want to do the module. Just continue where we left off.
Okay.
The session, right?
Mhm.
Come on. Let me go back. Let me go back. Because I know it's a redo, but this is a very powerful recording. And I'm specifically leaving it to record because what Donna said and that module and all of that, the being, it's very pertinent to Sherry right now. It's very relevant. So Sherry's going to listen to this recording and us doing this again, it's double emphasis. And it is such a powerful thing to emphasize. It is important. So that's why I want to go back and do that. Just find it. Module 6, Session 2, Mood Management and Just Being. Do you remember where you left off, Beena?
No, it was just a beginning.
Okay. We'll just start from the beginning then. All right.
Yeah.
Let me do screen share. There we go. Perfect. And it's up on the top where I like it to be. That's fantastic. Okay. Mood Management and Just Being. Module 6, Session 2 with Beena. All right. When we realize we can add to the world, change the world, contribute positively to the world, simply via being aware, we undergo a profound moment of personal empowerment. Big deal. This quote actually, it's the quote in the start of the Out BS book. So awareness, it's a big deal. Just awareness alone is enough. And we don't have to change the world, but we can. And that's a profound responsibility. So that's important in that quote, the implications there. It's not about that we need to change the world or even want to, but that we can. So this means that there's a responsibility. So our awareness becomes something that we have to be aware of. Yeah? We have to be aware of our awareness, pay attention to our attention. All right. Mood management is difficult as it requires, first of all, an awareness of immersion when it occurs. That's very difficult, but can be done. First, though, we need some extra pressure and leverage to provide incentive to make such changes. Because, after all, we engage in our moods because they feel natural and justified. But of course, the crappy ones are only justified within their limited immersion bubbles. Problem is, when inside that immersion bubble, it feels right and justified. Feeling makes things real. When associated with a falsely justified rationale, the rationale of the immersion, we can come to behave in ways we don't actually like or care for, but do anyway. All because of that prior associated self-conditioning. This is, for instance, when we get caught up in anger.
So what what it means about rationale here when associated with falsely
Okay,
justified
so
rationale.
right. So when you get caught up in an anger bubble, it seems like it's
Hmm.
quite sensible to be angry, right? That's the
Hmm.
rationale, because, okay, the rationale is they did something bad, I need to be angry. They did something unfair or unjust, I need to be angry. It's a belief that's inside the bubble. The rationale
Hmm.
is the logic, the justification,
Yes.
the,
Yes.
yeah. So that's the rationale, right? So when we realize that rationale is context dependent, and inside the
Hmm.
bubble, we can things can become rationalized and seem sensible and seem justified, but it's only in a limited context. So very powerful to be aware of that. Okay. An important aspect of mood management and awareness management is association management.
Hmm.
We're going to apply a sophisticated technique when it comes to our mood management. Instead of looking at the instances of, say, irritation or annoyance and trying to deal with them as they happen, which is difficult, we're going to come from the outside ahead of time and put ourselves in a space and mindset and awareness to see the trouble beforehand, enabling us to not become immersed. Let me just check something.
Hold on. Hold on. I want to read that.
Okay, okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I just, dang it. There we go.
Okay. We are going to apply a sophisticated technique when it comes to our mood management. Instead of looking at the instances of, say, irritation or annoyance and trying to deal with them as they happen, this is difficult. We are going to come from the outside ahead of time and put ourselves in a space and mindset and awareness to see the trouble beforehand, enabling us to not become immersed. Okay, got it.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal. So, we didn't get into anticipation as a strategy in dealing with our things, but that's part of it, and it's covered elsewhere in the program. To develop an anticipation mindset. But yeah, we're going to do some other type of anticipation here, which is quite exciting. By the way, I'm enjoying the electric blanket. It's on. I couldn't sleep with it on high. I had to put it on low to sleep. But right now I have it on high. It's not as hot as I remember. It's just warmish, but still, it's pretty cool. The blankets aren't cold, which is nice. So that's very cool. Just a by the by. The most powerful we have, the most powerful tool we have to break habit is motivation, along with its more sophisticated upgrade, intent. We're going to leverage intent.
Yes.
Yeah. In the matter of moods, especially crappy moods, we are going to examine just exactly how those moods are justified from our overview perspective of sobriety and impeccability. When we do a thorough examination of such moods, we absolutely cannot justify or legitimize them in the context of our impeccability and sobriety. So this is what we are doing ahead of time, because we anticipate that we may become caught up in emotion bubbles. So this is the anticipation, and this is our preemptive strategy, what we are doing here now, right? This is what we're busy with now in the next couple of slides. So this, we are going to examine just exactly how those moods are justified from our overview perspective of sobriety and impeccability, right? When we do a thorough examination of such moods, we absolutely cannot justify or legitimize them in the context of our impeccability and sobriety. So there's more coming on this. Okay. Fully connecting and immersing ourselves in our impeccability and our sobriety, specifically from the perspective of mood justification, is extremely powerful. We now leverage our honesty, self-honesty, and integrity. How? Just how? If we regard ourselves as good, and how? Just how? If we intend to live as impeccable spirit warriors, how can we justify and rationalize crappy moods? We cannot. It's as simple as that. And this is our leverage. When we make this real deep awareness to say, hey, I've now set myself up as an impeccable spirit warrior. I've claimed that. How can I now justify crappy moods? I can't. I'll be dishonest if I do that. Right? Placing all
Yes.
our attention and awareness, all our integrity and intent to goodness, on our intent to be impeccable and live as spirit warriors, shifts us profoundly to a constant awareness of these ways of being. In them, there's no place for crappy, unjustifiable moods. No place at all. This is our leverage. If we engage in such unimpeccable moods, are we not frauds? This is how we place massive and influential self-leverage on ourselves. We might not always be at our potential best, simply because we don't always know how, or we're not in the habit and other factors. But one thing we absolutely cannot be is a fraud. This goes against all we are. Right? So this is
Just a
how
minute. Yeah. Because I want to read that again.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our leverage. If we engage in such unimpeccable moods, are we not frauds? This is how we place our massive. This is how we place massive and influential self-leverage on ourselves. This is how we place massive and influential self-leverage on ourselves. Might not always be at our potential best, simply because we don't always know how, or we are not in the habit, and other factors. But one thing we absolutely cannot be is a fraud. This goes against all we are if
Right.
we engage in
So our
such an
goodness won't allow us, our
yes.
honesty won't allow us to be a fraud. But we only get, if we set ourselves up and we think of ourselves, we conceive of ourselves as just ordinary people. Well, ordinary people have crappy moods and crappy behaviors and do crappy things, right? But we set ourselves up for the specific purpose of leveraging ourselves to not get caught up in emotion bubbles, to not have those moods. We are setting ourselves up as impeccable spirit warriors. Now we say, as an impeccable spirit warrior, how can I justify crappy moods? I cannot. If I'm going to say I'm an impeccable spirit warrior, for me to have crappy moods and crappy behavior would mean I'm a fraud. It means I'm bullshitting about being an impeccable spirit warrior. And I can't bullshit. I can't be a fraud. I can't be a phony. See? So we are deliberately using this intent of ours, this self-description, this new self-conception of ourselves as an impeccable spirit warrior. We are deliberately immersing in that in order to leverage ourselves so that we cannot now do crappy things and behave crappily and feel crappily. Why? Because that would make us a fraud. So we are doing one to leverage the other. Very powerful, yes? It's a
Yes.
sophisticated strategy. And
Yes.
we're doing this ahead of time because once we have that deep inside ourselves, it's almost like a little bit of a fear. Oh my God, I've set myself as an impeccable spirit warrior. I can't go around being crappy anymore. Now we have ahead of time set a preemptive pressure and leverage on us to not in the future be crappy, to not get sucked into those emotion bubbles. We can't anymore because it goes against being an impeccable spirit warrior. So when it happens, there's that association. We've made a new association with things like annoyance and irritation and anger and any kind of crappiness. We've made a new association. It's now associated with being a fraud because that's not the behavior of an impeccable spirit warrior, right?
Yes.
And since we have such a deep, automatic, innate resistance to being a fraud, we are leveraging this non-wanting to be a fraud. This is a profound, deep motivation and intent we have to not be phony, to be real, right? So we don't have that associated with being angry and annoyed and irritated. But when we do, we say, oh, if I'm angry, I'm being a fraud because that's not the behavior of an impeccable spirit warrior. So we leverage our innate tendencies to shift us out of emotion bubbles and out of getting into them in the first place, right? Very, very, very powerful. Very powerful.
Yes.
Sophisticated, but
Yes.
powerful. Thus, we leverage our intent to be impeccable, our stated shift to being impeccable and to regarding ourselves as spirit warriors. If we are real about this intent, real about this shift of being, we just absolutely cannot engage in crappy moods. It's an extremely powerful pressure on us. We'll use this pressure to leverage our awareness to be aware of our moods, to be aware of what's happening so we don't fall into emotion bubbles within which we lose our precious, precious hard-won awareness. We don't want to be crappy. Even worse is being crappy without being able to do much about it. As spirit warriors, we understand the horror and calamity of losing our awareness. It's a disastrous affair and a circumstance we must absolutely have to do everything we can to prevent from happening. Yes, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. We'll thus use that pressure and desire to be good, to not be hurtful and mean and nasty and all the other crap we engage in when we become lost inside emotion bubbles, to not only assist us in mood management, but also to leverage us to constant awareness and to not lose our awareness. A multi-layered approach to dealing with ourselves and to putting ourselves in a space where we can deal with ourselves. That's the space of awareness.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Mood management is a huge topic with many layers, deeply connected to absolutely everything we are about as spirit warriors engaged in our way of impeccability. To illustrate this overview perspective, multi-layeredness and connectedness to more, a story. And when I read this with Donna, I'm like, ooh, a story. I forgot I had put this in here. And it's like, oh, hey,
Ah.
a story. I completely forgotten that it was in here. So, okay. And I didn't know what the story was.
Wow.
Exciting. All right, so here comes the story, Beena. All right.
Yes.
I clicked to move, but it's not moving. So come on. There we go. I went too many now. So, all right. Here's the start of the story. Just being is enough. A story fragment to elucidate. Biala was asked, you talk of the new nobility being focused on just being, but what do they do to just be? Mood management, Biala simply said. She looked over to her dear and glorious friend and said, there comes a time in the life of a new noble when they shift from living a personal life. What other kind of life is there? Biala explained. They take on life as an agent of the universe, or a spirit warrior, or a lover. And then the exquisite dance begins, the dance of power, the dance of joy, the dance of freedom. For it's a dance of control, a dance of responsibility, a dance of awareness and attention. In this dance, we take up the task of managing the mood of the universe, of the world, and everything in it. It's a stupendous undertaking. It's an impossibility, and yet we try. We dance and dance like never before. We never relent in our dance of joy, in our dance of cheer, in our dance of positivity. It's our task to be good, to set the tone, to supply the mood. Our personal feelings become irrelevant. We have undertaken the most sublime challenge possible. The challenge of, the hello broke off. The challenge of, don't stop there. Biala had a faraway look, a look of grace, a look of connection. It's the challenge of a lifetime. It's the challenge to always be our best, to always be the most appropriate we can be in any and all contexts. And what is appropriate? What can we be sure of as always being appropriate? Goodness, of course. But doing what's good is difficult to know. However, feeling good, we know, contributes to the goodness of the world, the goodness of everything. If we are contributing to the feeling of goodness wherever we are adding to the goodness of the world. What a challenge. Biala breathed. She shivered, feeling the complexity of her thoughts. We affect the world around us with how we feel. Every feeling and mood we put out affects those around us. Their feelings and moods in turn affect others. Every single one of us can thus be the butterfly sneeze that causes the typhoon of positivity and goodness. Simply by being good, by feeling good. This is the only doing that's needed. The only doing good we can do and be sure it's good. Anything else is a presumption. The new nobility take this responsibility seriously. But the questioner faltered. Yes, there are many, many buts. It's no simple to task. It's no simple task to take on the responsibility of mood management. This responsibility of mood management. It involves being impeccable. Pierre left off there as if explaining more was too much for her. She drifted into a memory immersion, allowing it to take full hold. I remember a time, Pierre said. It seems so long ago now, when Illumineer and I first encountered the concept of mood management, of being an agent of the universe or similar. Illumineer had been on a trip with someone, and let's just say mood management was a challenge. We chatted via the com. Biala went back into the immersion, seeing it from the outside. Biala had said, and be resolute, Angel, insisting ever so slightly. Scrupulous, Illumineer replied. Felt a bit sad about no longer having a personal. However, excited about being an agent of the universe. Biala, it's there, the personal. It just has a different scope for expression. but it becomes much, much more special when the opportunities present. Illuminia. I guess a princess of the universe is an agent. Yala laughed. It makes it all worthwhile, as does being an agent of the universe. It's a most special charge, one requiring the full use of all our skills and all our integrity, and constant attention, of course. But above all, being an agent of the universe requires ethics. And yes, a princess is a special agent. Yala added, it's always the moods of others which are paramount. An agent has to be a paragon. It's really fun being an agent, as always, always. An agent is engaged in the distribution of good. Illumina. I wanted to say in terms of mood management, watching the beginnings especially closely is critical. One has to nip in the bud at all costs any start of a mood which threatens internally. It's only then, in those early stages, where we really have any control. Biela. Absolutely. And in terms of your specific interaction, if one sets the mood of positivity, trust, togetherness, closeness, solidarity, communication, and of being a union, communion, and of being a unit, any other options? Oh, good that Eric has responded. Hey, any other options become impossible. That's the key of it all. To broadcast and radiate the moods and attitudes we want. That broadcast prevents any other options. Just trust and see. Extrapolate positively. Yeah, definitely. I feel good anticipating. Diala, you are good always. Never forget that. You are connecting to your power, the power of making the world good and better by you being good and happy through your mood management. Diala, I have been thinking much about this, the finer points of it. I see it as essential, also from the new nobility perspective, that mood management is never seen as something which is forced or foisted, or in any other way put upon people. It comes about more from not being able to do the opposite. Since moods, attitudes, and perspectives, thus our very beings, are contagious, we have the ethical responsibility to not infect the world with negativity. It's about not being negative. Positivity is our only option. So we are not going around trying to sell positivity. It is just the way we are to be, because also it is not negativity. Understanding this prevents us from presuming what is good for others. All we can do when we take this all into account is be what is good. We know this will affect the world around us positively, and that's great. But it is never a forced perspective. Part of our positivity is freedom. And positivity laced with freedom of choice is certainly much easier to deal with than negativity in any form. The one adds energy with which to make choices, and the other subtracts energy. It's a profound responsibility, and like everything, has to be applied with awareness. If not, we can easily spread types of positivity when that is not desirable, such as condoning or enabling. So it forces us to be continuously, deliberately aware, which is our goal in terms of freedom. Mood management is a fantastic mechanism, thus, for leveraging our awareness, for keeping it constantly in play, for leveraging us to be constantly paying attention. We know how easy it is to become immersed in anything, and mood management leverages our goodness. It gives purpose to every single second of being. To live knowing we are continuously doing good and adding to the goodness of the world simply by being our goodness is awesome indeed. It's truly a way to live. Mood is energy dependent. I don't necessarily see it as an ethical obligation to be happy, but since moods, attitudes, and perceptions are infections, it's our ethical duty to be not negative. And there's more. There's a mood which is not happy, but neither is it miserable or unhappy. It's the mood of positivity, resolute positivity. It's a mood of sobriety. Sobriety is at root always positive. And it's a low energy requirement mood, therefore an excellent option when all else is not lining up. It's simply a commitment to positivity with all the realism attached. It's not optimism necessarily, but simply an insistence on the trust that things will work out, despite not seeing how. It's thus a choice of sensibility, a choice we make when we either don't want to or don't have the energy to consider options. It's a retreat option as well as a go-to option. This resolute positivity can be combined with happiness, joy, or enthusiasm, or not. It's a most excellent mood I have found. Donna, you mentioned that, yes, this can be a complete mood of neutrality, for instance, because neutrality is not negative, right? And that's what we're focusing on. We can choose any way we like to be not negative, including being absolutely neutral, being empty, being nothing, that is not being negative. That's our focus. That's our only choice, really, our agenda, our intent. Right? How we be not negative is up to us. Yes, Beena?
Yes.
Okay. This is a very big point. It's a very big point. And when you listen to Donna's takeaway, it's going to be huge. And this is one where I really absolutely do recommend listening, to this. I know you try to. This is one that's quite essential to listen to the take.
This one, this being at neutral,
Yes.
being a neutral, or
Yes.
being at neutral point, and
Yes.
being at void is, for me, is the basic core of way of impeccability. Also,
Yes.
even
Yes.
listen,
Yes.
and it was something I was just keep reminding myself, and also
Yes.
mentioning it in my
Yes.
takeaways,
Yes.
that
Yes.
this being of being at neutral place, being at
Yes.
void,
Yes.
is the positive attitude towards acceptance.
Yes. Yes. To be an unbiased witness, in other
Yes,
words. Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Put unbiased witness into your dictionary of power if it's not already there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Donna may have added neutrality to hers.
Mm-hmm. It is already in mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then we can always
Because
add
this
them
is,
again.
I
Doesn't
think,
matter. At some point, we
yeah.
type those into a spreadsheet or into a Word, and we sort them,
No,
and
it
then
is
you
in my,
eliminate the
it is in
documents.
my mechanism. I don't know why I
Ah,
use that term. I just write down with mechanism, being
nice.
at a neutral place and in void, in buffer zone. This is something I'm
Nice,
from the
nice,
beginning.
nice. Now you're
Yes,
just adding to it, then you extrapolating and expanding it. Brilliant. And to be an
yes,
unbiased witness, that's what I was going to say. To add
yes,
unbiased witness as a
yes,
power term. Very
yes.
good.
I already learned that.
Ah, cool, cool,
Yes.
cool. Fantastic. All right. Biala suddenly asked, "Are you feeling the power?" What do you mean? When we take upon ourselves the task and responsibility of mood management, we empower ourselves. We are suddenly in charge of our lives and how we feel. Not only that, but we are also in charge of adding to the goodness of the world. When we engage in mood management, we have decided that the infection of negativity stops with us. We have taken on the task of refusing to pass on the infection of negativity. We will no longer be part of the negativity infection cycle. We will no longer contribute to adding to the infection of negativity. This is empowering. Knowing our every action, our every effort of mood management is contributing to the good of the world. We don't have to go around spreading cheer or always being happy. All we have to do is refuse to be negative. This is a powerful self-knowledge and empowering. It's a joy to know we are doing good every second of our engagement in mood management. Piala sighed a deep sigh of the most profound love. Love for the world, love for her friends, love for everyone, love for everything, and said, "A deliberate choice to be unrelentingly positive is the ultimate charity." She smiled. That radiant, glorious, grace-infused smile of hers. Illumina returned the smile, adding illumination to the grace. And for the friends, all was right in the world. The end. Like the story, Beena?
Mm. Yes.
Oh, oh, I love the story. I really love the story. So remember, the start of the story was the questioner asked, "What do the new nobility do to just be?" This is the
Mm.
whole point. We don't need to do anything, just being is enough. When our being
Yes.
is not being negative, this is
Mm.
all we need to do. And it is not
Yes.
only enough, but it is magical and profound and consequential and huge. Just being makes a difference. When that being is being not negative, when that being is being impeccable, in other words, makes
Yes.
it's enough. It's enough. It's not this whole big complicated thing. It's very simple. And when you hear Donna's takeaway, it is a huge deal. Oh, there's an addendum and an afterthought from Biala. It's imperative to let our goodness find its own way out into the world. The minute we push it out, we add an intent which says, in essence, "I believe this is good for you, others." That's a presumption, no matter how tiny it is. Only the universe has access to the information to push that out. And look how the universe does it. Always in a way where we still have to put it together for ourselves. To presume to be able to push in that kind of way is just preposterous, and it is not our way. We have a noble from Addendums and Afterthoughts. Let's addendums and afterthoughts. All right, there's much to this in session 2. There's much to the session. Pull from it what stands out, what connected and resonated. There's more to all this, which we'll get into in a takeaway session. Yeah, there's a lot more, and it's a huge deal. And it really, we already discussed much of it, and much of it came out in Donna's takeaway. But this is a big deal. This is a very, very, very big deal. This whole understanding that just being in this particular way, when we understand exactly what just being means, then we can just be, and that affords us a great, great freedom. Yes?
Yes.
And it releases us from all of the shoulds and all of the thinking that we need to do this, we need to do that. And that gives us that freedom and peace and fulfillment to realize just being in this particular way, just being impeccable, just not being negative. This is all we need to do. So we don't have to, when we say unrelenting positivity, that really means unrelenting non-negativity. Yeah?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Very, very big deal.
Yes.
Very, very big deal. Oh, I love
so
this.
This is it for today.
Yes. Okay. Well, Donna's going to come back she should be back any moment now. Then we can do module 6 session 3. What I want to do real quick now is connect you with Erica. I messaged her. Sorry, come on. Okay, there it is. I messaged her and she responded. I just want to get module 6 session 3 lined up. So I want to see what she responded to, and then also set a time to connect with her. And I want to ask her to do the wave impeccability in the way it was intended to be done by somebody who's participating it as a full paying participant, right? I won't say the full paying part, but just to do it where she does the module, then comes and does the repeat back, the takeaway, the dictionary of power, and to do it in that way, right? I'm like with Benny. I also did the module 1 session 1 with Benny, because I feel that for different instances of connectivity, there's an appropriateness to doing it together or to doing it as a standalone. Now, I would love to do it with Erica because it's a joy for me, but I want to make sure and see how it is when somebody does it that way, what the result and the consequence are. And I feel that Erica is, and somebody who is, will in that space and appropriateness to do it, so do you agree?
Yes.
There's 4 sessions to module 6. Okay, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, module 6, session 3, critical change of concept. I think one of them is very short, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we'll wait for Donna, because she did say she is coming back. So will you text her for me, please? And just let her know that you're back on and that we and we're looking to do module 6, session 3. And while you do that, I shall. Okay, so I'll connect with. Where's my Facebook? I'll connect with Erica. Hi, Sol. Yes, for sure. I keep trying to find some downtime and failing. I thought I would have all the time in the world now, but that hasn't been the case. And at all, I have to get back to multitasking. Good. Okay. Let me stop the sharing. Sorry, it just makes the typing easier. That's all. Not that I mind. You see, never everything I do is open. Of course, you know that, right? Feeling better, Beena?
I'm actually trying to understand what is happening, because the fever is not like, it is just a feeling of fever, and not really any sneezing, but just, yes, a bit dry throat. But the overall feeling is like, just I don't know how to say that. It is.
Gotcha.
It might be just low energy. That's it, or I don't know. I'm actually struggling to understand what it is.
Yeah. Big deal, Beena. And I
Today I
don't
did
mean to go
nothing.
into this in depth now, but I'll just throw this out. Sorry, and we can come get into it at a later time, go into it in detail. But I do feel that it is connected to an uncertainty of circumstance which has crept into your life at the moment.
Oh yes, it is. It is a big time. Yes, but
I'll tell you what, Beena, let's do this real quick. Let's end this meeting for the recording, since it's ending at the end of that session, and then we come right back. And then I just messaged Erica, maybe she'll come on now, and then when Donna comes on, it's a separate recording. Okay. I'll end meeting and we'll come right back. Okay. See you soon. End meeting. End meeting. I'll see you in a minute.